been 7 months since Deku died. Deku went official with being in a relationship with Charlie, and Veggie, Carmilla and Lucifer were 100% on board. Deku's met Katie Killjoy and he's known for being kind, but Katie Killjoy just chucks his niceness out the window. Deku has wanted to just shoot her with the Slayer's shotgun, but Charlie stops him all the time. Lucifer is getting back into the loop of what goes on in hell, and it's actually attending all the Overlord meetings. To all of the Overlord surprise, we cut to a meeting between Lute, Emily, Sarah, Michael and God. Okay, first things first, Sarah, I left you and Adam in charge, didn't I? Sarah: yes you did. God: okay, so where is my damn first man? Lute: he's dead. Everybody goes quiet for a second and God looks around for any hint of a lie. Michael: may I take over? God: whatever, I'm trying to wrap my head around it. Michael talks with them about what went on, and from what he can gather, this kid named Izuku Midoriya. God: hold the fucking phone. Izuku Midoriya, one of the people that I restrictively put on the top of the list to get a first-class ticket to heaven. God's confused why the one of the handful of people that are on the VIP section to heaven went to hell. He then pulls out a book and looks through it, and his eyes get a slight glint of curiosity. Michael: so Dad, what is it? God: well, we both know angels go to heaven, demons go to hell. It's a very simple principle, right? The only fact is a hell has, well, apart from Lucifer, 2 angels down there, Veggie and Izuku. Lute: sorry, I'm speaking out of line, but who is this Izuku and why is he so important? Michael: well, you're never straight off the bat heaven or hell, but there are select for you that can gain which way they go at a young age, and some criterias to reach the list, like that rule about whoever kills Hitler comes to heaven. Sarah: yes, I remember implementing that rule myself. God: well, as most of heaven knows, there are multiple realities. Somewhere I'm not the strongest, somewhere there are no deities. The possibilities are endless with the multiverse, but there is one universe that we kind of share a link to the most. It's nicknamed the Doom Universe, but in simple terms it's reality where everything's gone to hell and those demons are just mindless creatures that wanna kill off humanity. Emily's wrapping her head around this since she never knew about the whole multiverse thing, but apart from that she's following along pretty well. Michael decides to continue where his dad left off. Michael: well, in that reality there is this man called Doom, or John. He goes by many names but only select few actually knows real name. In that universe he is the judge, jury and executioner of all demon kind, and before you ask, no, he doesn't have a problem with this hell since father explained to him how her hell stiffened than his, and when Izuku was around 5, if I remember correctly, he went to the Doom Slayer's universe by accident, and while he helped the Slayer, making him become heaven bound as long as he didn't do anything to, well, non-divine. Lute is surprised that someone like that even exists. God even omits that he can't even beat the Slayer if you wanted to, because every fight the Slayer gets stronger with everything he killed you, then explains how the Slayer became the Slayer, and everybody apart from God and Michael are surprised. That's when during the meeting Michael sees a snake person in the corner. Michael: what's with the snake? Emily: that's actually our first rehabilitated sinner. Michael: first? God: rehabilitated. God and Michael: sinner, about fucking time. Sarah: I'm sorry, what? Michael: we might have cast Lucy out, but father told Adam to. God: I think I understand the problem. Well, I guess I gotta call Lucifer and congratulate him. Lute: I'm sorry, that was meant to be happening this entire time. God: yep, but at least you didn't fuck up and piss Izuku enough for him to bring in the Doomslayer, or all of heaven would be destroyed. Sarah: we lost so many souls for something that was meant to be happening this entire time. God stands up and nods Michael, and God leaves the room, leaving everybody else stunned. We cut to hell where Deku is polishing his wings. Angel Dust: hey kid, why are you polishing your wings? Understand if you get them tidy, but they're made of weapons. Deku: actually main reason why I need to keep them like brand new, cause not only can I fly with them, I can also shoot them, so I can't technically be surrounded. Veggie walked in and gives Deku a kiss on the cheek. Angel Dust is a little annoyed without affection there being in the open, but he shrugs it off. We then see a speaker next to Husk starting to play. Inside every demon is a rainbow, but before it could start singing, Deku's wings spread out and shoot the hell out of the speaker, making everybody blink in surprise. Deku: I might love Charlie, but her singing can get a little noise, especially when it's that song. Veggie: I agree. Anyway, speaking of Charlie, where is she? Deku: she hanging out with my mom and my sisters. Angel Dust: so how is it being adopted by a family that actually well cares? Deku: well, at first I need you to get used to calling her mom, but once I used to that it was smooth. She act tough, but she's actually pretty sweet. We cut to Lucifer, who is currently on the phone with his dad and brother. Lucifer: I didn't rehabilitate anyone. Michael: I'm sure Mr. Snake call it. Lucifer: wait, so rehabilitation does work? Charlie's gonna be so excited. God: I'm sorry, who? Lucifer: Charlie, your granddaughter. I sent a picture to Gabriel and told him to tell you. God and Michael. Gabriel. A minute later God comes back in the room dragging Gabriel by his wings. Gabriel. That really hurts. Michael. Ask Lucifer why we dragged you here. Gabriel. You dragged me all the way here just to talk to Lucifer. God. Just ask him. Gabriel. Before I lose hearing and maybe my wings, why is Dad and brother mad at me? Lucifer. Remember that picture of Charlie I sent you? Gabriel. Well fuck. Michael stats beating up Gabriel. God. Well I have some business to take care of in hell anyway, so I'll be coming to visit. God hangs up and we cut back to Deku, who is cleaning Vaji's wings. We see Nifty trying to kill spiders. Deku tosses Nifty a 12-gauge shotgun and she looks at it with confusion. She aims here at a spider and pulls the trigger, completely eradicating the spider. Nifty. Damn shit, this works better than bug spray. Nifty runs around the place shooting all the bugs and laughing like a psychopath. Angel Dust looks at Deku and Deku just shrugs. They hear enough on the hotel's doors and Deku heads there and opens it. He comes face to face with God. Deku. Are you here about the cockroach called Adam? God. Well not exactly, but we will have to talk about that. Deku talks to God about stuff while you wait for Charlie to arrive. God explains how he wasn't meant to go to hell and he has this spot in heaven if he wants to go there. They could just size. Deku decides to ask him about something that's been eating away at him internally. Deku. Gee, you think I could get up two-way past between Earth and hell? God. Sure, think about it like an engagement gift, and this will be the only time else be able to talk to you like this for a while since I have a lot of paperwork to sort out. I got stuff to do in reality to keep intact. God just disappears and Deku blinks. He shrugs at that and decides to tell everybody at once about how he's going to be heading back to Earth because he still wants to be a hero, just not be kind like All Might or anyone like that, just more underground. We cut to half an hour later. Everybody is in the living room confused. Deku. There's good news and bad news. Bad news is I may or may not have met the Big G. Lucifer. Please don't tell me you did anything to offend him. Deku. G actually a pretty chill guy. He knows about my little travel to another dimension and all that stuff. Anyway, the good news is I have a way back to Earth. Everybody goes quiet at that and Lucifer decides to just outright says it. Lucifer. No offense kid, but there is no way for a demon or even an angel to get a smite free pass to between Earth and Deku sighs and pulls out a jet black card with golden mix of demonic and angelic inscribing on it. Lucifer goes slack-jawed. The fact that he got one from his dad. Deku hills the same annoying song. He's been hearing it for a while now. It keeps flickering in his head like an annoying song that you can't get out your head. Deku. Overlords can also go to the human world, and well, I had the chat with G and he made me a sort of deal as I can't abuse it. I can use it whenever I want as long as I'm not pulling something like a portal gun move. Anyway, back on topic, and I'm thinking about attending UA. Charlie. Can I come to know what the human world's like? Vaji. How many people does that card allow to go back and forward? Deku thinks about it and remembers God never gave him a limit, so he decides to say there's a limit to make sure there's no abusing it. Deku. I can use it 4 per day and they can transport up to 10 people, but it only teleports us to our Earth, so there won't be teleport into heaven or any of the dimension. It's only a two-way between hell and Earth. Carmilla. I don't mind you going, but you will have to at least keep in touch with us, and me and your sisters will be moving into the hotel. Lucifer is thinking about letting his daughter go to Earth, but he decides to lay some rules. Lucifer. Free rules, non-negotiable. Rule number 1, you protect the no matter what. You may only be able to be killed by angelic weapons or in Charlie's case archangel weapons, but I don't want to try it. Rule number 2, you've got to message us as soon as you come back to hell on the weekend and show those humans what the next Rawlers of hell can do. Alistair. My boy, you mind if you check on Rei Todoroki since I haven't seen her in 10 years? Deku. What the fuck did you do to my aunt? Alistair. Nothing, I promise she just wanted to know what her son and daughter were doing to you. In exchange she might be coming down here when she dies. Deku. You're lucky I'm in a good mood or I would kill you, but I know you're not suicidal, so you definitely wouldn't done anything to her, and you better pray to God I don't find out you own her soul in any way. Husk. By the way, I have a friend I need you to check on. Well, not technically a friend, more somebody I made a contract with back my overlord days. Deku. And who might this be? Husk. She goes by Recovery Girls, but don't worry, it was nothing like that with the contract. It was more just I make sure she has perfect health and buff up a quirk a little. Deku gives a serious but simple nod. Deku wonders how he's gonna explain and uncle's how he's not 6 feet in the ground and walking around with a small armory attached to his back. Deku checks his watch and realized it's gonna be late, so we'll get ready and set off tomorrow because they need to find a place in that one that on Earth Ant is going to get all of his dad's old stuff. Recap to the next day. Charlie, Deku and Vaji are getting ready to go. They've got enough stuff packed for a few days. That's when Deku hears the same song in his ear, only this time it's way more distorted and he has a voice in it but he can't make out words sing. He uses the card and it igniting to flames and falls back in his hand. A circle of fire appears around them and shoots up. Deku's confused because they're inside of a rich person's bedroom. He hears some sounds and screams. That's when he sees a girl with a horrified expression with messy black hair and then hourglass body. Momo. Who are you? Deku's about to answer but then he hears an imp raw from behind the door and kick it down. Deku whips out the Slayer's shotgun and the imp's eyes widen. Deku. Here's Johnny. Deku pulls the trigger on the shotgun blowing the imp into pieces. Charlie heads to Momo and starts checking her over for injuries and that's when Veggie pulls out her spear. Deku. Look after her. I'm guessing everybody outside of this room is dead. Momo. Why yes but what are you coming to do? Bullets and quirks don't work on them. Deku. Rip and tear, until it's done. Deku walks out of the room and Momo has a slight nosebleed. Charlie and Veggie notice this and has a slight smirk. Veggie. So you've fallen for our boyfriend. Momo. What you two? Charlie. Us three. They all hear a mix of gunshot screams and it lit a bit of psychotic laughter. They then hear Deku say in his best scorpion voice. Deku. Get over here. Momo just sits there speechless. She hears screaming but it's a mix of fear and demonic. Momo calls the heroes about a breaking and massacre in her family house. After around 30 minutes of the demons screaming everything goes quiet and Deku just walks in, him covered in a dark red blood and his wings made of pure weapons glisten with the blood acting like wax for the guns and knives. Deku sees the portal still open but no demon to come in through. That's when he sees the puzzle box. Momo. That portal appeared when the box was almost finished and those things came out. Deku. It's a carnage trap. To pretty simply it opens a gateway to another dimension and you're lucky that one only brings out imps. Those trust me there are more deadly versions and one of them can summon an icon of sin. The only way to shut the portal is to complete the box. Deku goes to grab the box but a huge shock runs through his hand and he shoots his arm back and shakes it. He kicks it to Momo and she quickly finishes it closing the portal. Deku helps Momo up and as they're walking out the mansion they see all the demons' bodies that to flake away but all the blood marks is still staying. Charlie sees that all the deaths weren't slow or painless. When they get out a black car appears and Midnight Eraserhead stepping out that eyes meet Deku and Midnight rushes and hugs Deku and starts crying. Midnight. When I woke up this morning I didn't expect to see you. Deku. Yes it's good to see you too Auntie Midnight. You to Uncle Aizawa. Aizawa looks behind Deku. Absolute the massacre. Aizawa feels like throwing up but he keeps it professional. That's when Midnight sees the free girls and immediately turns back into her professional persona. Deku and explains the situation as best as he can. Momo filled in the blanks. Momo create a briefcase made of titanium and wraps it in portion tape. Deku. Credit you just write this off as a villain attack. What it'll save all the paperwork plus knowing you're gonna want me to talk to everybody. I said goodbye to using that video. Aizawa. Sure but I will be calling everybody and you will have to come to UA weather and that isn't an argument and they will have to be there all of them. Deku. Well I guess I gotta bite the bullet, but there's somebody you will have to meet but it'll have to be tomorrow and she can explain some blacks that my story might give and make sure Night Eye brings Ebony and Ivory. Does a kind of miss having them around plus I have a slight feeling I'm gonna need them. We cut to the next day. Deku is inside of the meeting faculty room. Aizawa, Nazu, Midnight, Rai, Mitsuki, Endeavor, Night Eye, Hound Dog, Gran Torino, Momo, Charlie, Veggie, All Might, Inko, Izumi and Bakugo, Todoroki twins, Carmilla and Recovery Girl. Deku. Right before we get this meeting started allow me to introduce myself. Everybody is confused by that apart from Hell's residents. Deku. I'm Izuku Carmen. Inko about to yell out in outrage but a stern look from Nezu made her feel quiet. Deku points at Charlie and Veggie. Deku. These are Veggie and Charlie Morningstar, my girlfriends. Carmilla. I'm Carmilla Carmen, Izuku's mum. Inko. She stands up and slams her hands on the table. Inko. That isn't your son bitch. Recovery Girl throws her walking stick right at Inko's head. It bounces off her head and lands back in Recovery Girl's hand. Inko. Ah but I'm the one who gave birth to you, not this bitch. Deku. And yet she's done more for me in 7 months than you have in my entire life. Inko goes quiet at that and everyone starts introducing themselves. Deku then explains to them about heaven and hell and that Veggie and him are angels. Carmen is one of the overlords of hell and Charlie is the devil's daughter. Everybody is quiet after Deku explains over that to them. Nezu. So one thing I don't get, his way did you come up here and what does Miss Momo have to do with well this situation? Deku. Well believe it or not but she's actually bumped into the supernatural, more precisely more chaotic versions of demons. That's as much as I can say for now. Nezu. Well I would like to know what courses you all will be taking. I know what Miss Momo will be coming into the hero course. Deku. Me and Charlie will be going into a hero course and Veggie. I'm thinking either general studies or business. Aizawa. Well, you two will be doing a personal test just to measure your physical capabilities, since knowing the rat you free are going to be in no matter what. Nezu. Yes, and about your weekend visits to hell, I will allow it on 2 occasions. One, you need to let us know and what time you'll be back, and 2, you must give us a 24-hour warning. Anyone pays in this room and we have to approve it. And about that special entrance exam, we'll be doing that, let's say 20 minutes from now, so everyone can wrap their hands around what's going on. Carmen. I don't see no problem with that, since I don't have anything this second to do in hell. Oh, wait until you're ready to head home. All Might. I'm sorry, but he isn't going anywhere with you. All Might buffs up and isn't smiling. Carmen. Oh, so you're All Might. Recovery girl. Don't do anything foolish, Tashinori. All Night. Foolish, I want my son back. Izumi gets ready to use telekinesis to restrain her. Night Eyes slides Deku Ebony and Ivory, and Deku points them at Inko and Izumi. All Might eyes go wide. All Might. You wouldn't. Deku's wings are half folding, so that pointed towards them. Before All Might say anything else, he hears all the guns on that. Deku's wings cock back. Deku. I would love nothing more than riddle you all with a bunch of bullets, including those 4, but they do not have to deal with you or in hell. All Might powers down and that looks at Deku with white eyes and gritted teeth. Deku spins his guns on his fingers and puts some into gun holsters on his side. Deku. Damn, that feels nostalgic. All Might. You know heroes don't kill. Deku. Underground heroes do, and that's the route I'm going. Endeavor. Actually, most heroes do kill, but only a handful. Does it heroically, like if it was a kill or hostage die situation, and underground heroes are technically paid vigilantes, and since they're not 10 clean the limelight, they can get away with killing. Isn't that right? Aizawa. Everybody looks at Aizawa and he gives a simple nod. We cut the 20 minutes later outside. Aizawa basically wants them to do the basic fitness test, but with their abilities for the standing long jump, Deku and Vaji pulls out the wings and fly across it, practically marking them with infinite. Charlie got a fairly high score, managing to clear the pit, and some more for the 50 meters sprint. Deku manages to complete it in just under 2 seconds. He uses his wings as a speed boost. Charlie does fairly better, and Vaji just to do it in 4 seconds. For the ball throw, Charlie goes full demons and launches it, breaking the sound barrier and landing at 6 feet 666 meters. Everybody looks at Charlie because of it, and Charlie just shrugs. When it's Deku's turn, he creates a sleigh hammer and straps C4 to the end. He gets Charlie to throw it at full speed and Deku whacks it. An explosion goes off and the ball goes rocketing out of orbit. For the side steps, Charlie does it, but she trips over laces halfway through. For that, Deku gets after all of that document just to beat Charlie, and Vaji Momo coming in third because she couldn't beat Charlie's raw strength and Deku's raw abilities. Eraser is thinking about doing this on the first day for his class. Yes, it might be annoying as this one, but it also helps with their quirk control. You put in the back of his mind for now. Nezu. Well, Izuku Carmen, I will be seeing you in under 2 months. For the beginning of the school year you will be moving on campus, so make sure you have everything you need, and please make sure there's nothing that would kill regular people. Deku takes everybody from hell with him. When he gets back to the hotel, he sees everybody looking at them. Angel Dust. So how was it? Deku looks tired, picks up Charlie and Vaji and carries them straight to their room. Carmilla starts to explain what happened. Carmilla. Those 2 fucker wanted him back. Husk. Oh, that's fucked up. Alistair. If you want, I could call him. They owe the boy a few favors after all. Carmilla. As much as I want to see them rotten down here for the rest of eternity, he doesn't want to deal with them down here yet, and besides, Lucifer and I have called dibs on them when they come down here. You could have the when we get bored of torturing them. Alistair. I see their screams will make an excellent addition to my show. We cut to Deku's bedroom. Deku, Charlie and Vaji packing up there. Vaji. So will I be moving into the 1A or the general education dorm? Deku. No clue. Deku goes to the cupboard and grabs a bag full of weapons. Charlie looks at the bike and shrugs. We cut to an observation room. A month later, Deku, Charlie and Vaji are watching the entrance exam. Deku noticed that if he would talk the entrance exam, all it would have to do is fly into the air and just spam everything. It would nearly practically everything. Deku sees a girl with a brown hair bobble cut with a huge burn mask across half of her face. Deku. I'm guessing that was Katsuki Bakugo that did that to her. Nezu. Yes, you know, usually have it the teachers decide who's in their class, but since 5 of your tormentors will be in your class, you can decide who's in your class. Aizawa. Go ahead, problem child, and tell us where they need to improve. Deku. Well, let's start with Momo. That starts off, she might be a bit traumatized from the incident, but apart from that, her quirk is versatile, but it's limits by her imagination, so maybe show her where her limits shouldn't be. Aizawa. Since you mainly focus on a bow, staff is her preferred weapons, I understand, but what do you have in mind? Deku. Well, she could make anything from medicines to guns, so thankfully she's a multi-tool, but her only limit is her imagination. The brown head girl with the zero gravity quirk it. Seems she's way too quirk-reliant, so maybe some quirkless hand-to-hand combat into the roster that should help with some quirk-reliant people. Through the entire exam, Deku is pointing out some people who should be in his class if they get in. That's when he sees that there's enough room for one more person. He grabs the files for people who are from other tests. Deku, may Hatsume mean her go back a bit so it'll be easy for her to fit in, and I think we should add at least one person from a different course into the classes, like somebody from a business course inside of support calls, and that so they know how that stuff is made. The whole faculty looks at Deku and his reasoning. Nezu couriers about what brought that on, but then he remembers that sometimes heroes have a complaint about the prices of their support gear and they don't know what's going on behind the scenes, so not only would this increase the business students' understanding, it would also help with class rivals. Nezu, so what I'm getting is you want to mix and match classes. Deku, cause think about it, the support course should have access to live footage from the hero costumes so they can see what went wrong and what needs to be improved, and the suit could be modified based on fighting styles, but I think for safety reasons girls on girl suits and boys on boys in support equipment. All Might, I don't see the point in that. My suit was made by a girl. Deku, it's a skin-tight bodysuit that's practically made of paper. Everybody goes quiet at that and All Might is about to say something, but Nezu cuts in. Nezu, I somewhat see your reasoning, but you have any evidence that that should be a raw point in? Deku pulls out Momo's hero costume. Everybody looks at it with surprise. Deku rips it in half with little ease. Deku, and All Might, there is some else that is completely useless and dangerous on hero costumes. Midnight, okay, now I see the point, since that doesn't look like a hero costume, that looks like a swimsuit. Nezu, and what might that be? All Might, no offense, is nothing wrong with my suit, I've used it hundreds of times, hey, haven't had any problems. Deku, you know what, I'm just going to call someone who made my dad's suit. Everybody goes quiet at that. Deku pulls out his phone and dials a number. It rings for a few seconds and then they hear a voice from the other end. Edna, may I know who I'm speaking to? Deku, Izuku, son of. Edna, oh, it's you, my boy. Me, I know what this call is about because I am currently working on your suit. Nezu, hold on, aren't you? Edna Mode, the best soup designer in all of America anyway. Izuku, please tell me why you have called me at this time. Deku, well, there's a few things, mainly about All Might's hero. Edna, that this grace of a hero costume. All Might buff up and is about to say something, but Edna continues. Edna, where to begin? Right, the colors clash weird, it's practically made of paper compared to a super strength. I've seen it get ripped by a regular knife while reviewing some footage from his old battles. Deku and Edna, and the cape. Edna, exactly, my boy, I have one rule, no capes. Well, my boy, I'll be sending you yours and Miss Morningstar's hero costumes like you wanted, and thanks for reaching out to me instead of those support course members, and when you have the time I'd like to intern you and May in my workshop since we both know you are interesting how my suits are made. Edna hangs up. Everybody is surprised the fact that getting a suit from her is practically an honor. She makes suits for all the American pro heroes and her price is usually hefty, and the bare minimum for her suit is bulletproof. Nezu, I guess you have your internship sorted out. Well, I guess that's one picked out in your hero costumes, but May I know your relationship with May? Deku, well, believe it or not, but she's actually one of the 4 friends I had before going to hell, and if you can register my quirk as America Angel. Nezu, it's pretty on the nose, so what can you do exactly? Deku, practically make anything that is classed as a weapon. I mean legally classes weapon, knives, guns, explosives, but I found out it requires my stamina to make weapons, so I prefer to actually keep weapons on me, and any weapon I use having for the ammo is in the sense no real loading. All Might and Inko look at each other under whispering something to each other. That's when Nezu releases the 0-pointer and everybody goes back to watching the screens. Deku sees the more panicking, but that's when a warning appears. That's one of the 0-pointers programming has failed and it starts going on a rampage. All Might is about to buff up. The cameras zooms in on Deku. Everybody surprised the fact that Deku is there before even All Might could buffer. Deku moves fast and starts shooting the rubble that was pinning down the bubble-head girl. She gets up and start limping away. Deku sighs. A minigun appears beneath him and he stands on it. The minigun starts to spin and Deku's wings point at the 0-pointer. That's when the minigun and his wings start firing at the 0-pointer for too many straight. There's barely any scrap to identify what it was. That's when Charlie and Nezu heads to the ground and Charlie starts helping the injured. Would Recovery Girl helps the bubble-head girl and starts helping all the injured and offering out candies. She then sees Deku and is surprised how powerful he has become. She then whacks Deku on the knee with her cane. Deku, oh, that hurt. Recovery Girl, that's for not leaving to me at least 1 bottle of vodka from your vodka stash. Deku, right, forgot you were raised in Russia anyway. It was homemade, it wasn't any proper one from the shops. Recovery Girl, I don't care, that just means it was better. Deku, Oh, by the way, before I forget, Husk wanted to know how you would do it. Recovery girl. You can tell Huck that I'm doing well. Recovery girl brings Deku and Charlie to 1A dorm building. Deku sees Veggie chilling on the couch scrolling through TV channels. Veggie. How comes I can't find YouTube on this? The only thing I can find is this Hero Tube. Deku. I keep forgetting you're from the 2000s. YouTube's been replaced by Hero Tube for around 200 years. Deku grabs the remote and download YouTube on the TV. Charlie squeezers in the middle of them and they end up falling asleep. We cut to a week later. Deku is walking out of the shower on the first floor with a towel around his waist. He sees a bunch of people that he picked for 1A with their suitcases and bags. All the girls are blushing and he sees Kirishima looking at Deku's 8-pack and goes to a corner and starts sobbing and mumbling stuff about being too manly. Mina. Don't mind him, he gets like that when somebody's more ripped than him. Juro. Sup, nice body. Deku looks down at his body and realizes that he's just in a towel. Deku walks to the left on the other side of the building and heads up. All the girls except for Mei and Juro Izumi facepalm. Everybody sees Charlie sat on the living room couch. When she sees everybody she gets up, runs in front of everybody. Charlie. Hi, I'm Charlie Morningstar. Toru. I'm Toru Hagakuri. Mina. I'm Mina Ishido. Mineta. Holy shit, I must be in heaven surrounded by pretty girls and big titty. Denki. I agree, man. That's when everybody except the Bakugo and Todoroki twins introduces themselves. That's when they see Deku come down wearing a vast top with trackies with both of his wings somewhat folded up on his back. Deku. Right before you get settled in, there's a few rules that need to be known. Kendo. What might that be? Deku. Girls are on the left side of the dorm, boys are on the right. Each side has a hot spring. I've put some of my weapons around the dorms. Please don't touch him because they are loaded with live rounds. Classes start at 8 AM and you need to be in the dorm building by 11 PM. Sharpen if you see a girl with white wings walking around that she will cut you with a spear. Denki. So how long have you been in this place, because you've seen right at home? Deku. Well, Pikachu, I have been here since the entrance exam, well, a day after. Denki. I don't know whether to feel insulted or honored. Everybody just strokes. We cut to the next day, begin of class. Everybody is talking in their own groups about random stuff. Deku sees Aizawa stood in the door waiting for the class to notice him. Around 20 minutes passes and no one has noticed Aizawa, so he pulls out a flashbang grenade and throws it in the class. Deku immediately covers his eyes and ears as the flashbang goes off. Aizawa has a slight snow world. Class is holding that ears. After 2 minutes over the class's ears ringing, they see Aizawa start at the teacher's podium. Aizawa. If that was a hand grenade, you will be dead. Well, apart from Morningstar and Carmen, if you here to make friends, you can just walk out of my class now. Everybody sits down in their seats. Aizawa. Good, now puts these on, head to the sports field. We cut to the changing room. Denki. So Carmen, what's your relationship with Morningstar? Everybody goes quiet at that and listens in. Deku. She's one of my girlfriends. Why? Mineta. You lucky bastard. Everybody looks at to see Mineta removing a poster with a draw. Mineta. Look what our upperclassmates left us. The girls' storm is right behind this wall, which means this hole is. Everybody goes quiet and Mineta feels something cold and metallic on the back of his neck. Deku. Peek in your brains will be covering that hole. Mineta slowly backs away from the hole, the sniper rifle on Deku's back, and clicks back, releasing a bullet, and Deku shoved that into the hole. All of the girls' changing room. Everybody finishes and heads outside, and then two at the field. Deku, you being the first one out and everyone else coming 5 minutes later. Aizawa. It took you all 15 minutes to get ready. Time is precious in the hero work. Shorten it down 5 minutes. Now we'll be doing the standardized fitness test, but you'll be using your quirks. Mina. Well, this will be fun. Deku. Fun, huh? So people trafficking, rape, natural disasters, murder, suicide, all that is fun. Aizawa. That's why last place will be getting expelled. Ochako. But that isn't there, we've all worked hard to get here. Deku. That's why it's fair. Everybody goes quiet and looks at Deku. Deku. Like I said before, you think everything is fair. Some people get their life handed on the silver platter because they got powerful abilities. Some have to work their way up from the ground. Some of you might know what I'm talking about, some of you don't. Everybody goes quiet at that and Deku lets out a sigh and head to the first place as R tosses in a softball for him. Deku walks into the circle and starts to stretch his wings straight white, going to that full length of 4 meters. Deku create a rocket launcher and a sledgehammer. He throws the ball straight up and whacks it with the sledgehammer before the ball could hit the grounds. Deku quickly grabs the rocket launcher and fires it at the floor, sending the ball rocketing. Aizawa holds up a device and it shows 7.389.2 meters. Surprised since he didn't ask for Charlie to give him a good old throw. Everybody takes it and turns that all quiet about what Deku say. It takes everybody around half an hour to do all the tests. We see the leaderboard. 1 Izuku Carmen, 2 Charlie, Morningstar, 3 Momo Yaoyorozu, 4 Katsuki Bakugo, 5 Katsumi Bakugo, 6 Shodo Todoroki, 7 Shoko Todoroki, 8 Tenya Iida, 9 Tsuyu Asui, 10 Ochako Uraraka, 11 Eijiro Kirishima, 12 Izumi Yagi, 13 Denki Kaminari, 14 Mina Ishido, 15 Fumikage Tokiyami, 16 Kyoka Jiro, 17 Toru Hagakuri, 18 Mei Hatsume, 19 Itsuka Kendo, 20 Koji Koda, 21 Mezzo Shoji, 22 Rikido Sato, 23 Masharao Ojiro, 24 Yui Kodai, 25 Minoru Mineta, Aizawa. By the way, that expo thing was a lie. Momo. I knew it was illogical rules from the start. Deku. You wasn't lying, were you? Just know all of us have some level of potential. Could you expel entire class last year because they made fun of the quirkless? Momo. That can't be. Aizawa. You hit the nail right on the head, problem child, but Mineta, I have to warn you, if you don't stop being a pervert you will not make it past the end of the school year because Carmen will kill you if you even try to peek on his girlfriends. Everybody splits up, some headings orientation while the rest heading to the dorms. Everybody gets settled in and decorating their dorm rooms. Some of the boys and girls are sat in the common area. Everyone sees the door open. Vaggie. Orientation was so boring. Vaggie's eyes lock on the people sat in the common area. She remembers seeing Deku pick all of them out, but then her eyes lock on Izumi. Vaggie scarfs and put her spear in the umbrella rack. Denki. Hey Juro, you think that's the girl he warned us about? Juro. 500 yen if you flirt with her. Tokiyami. The shadows are telling me that's a bad idea. Denki is about to get up, but Charlie walks in and sees Vaggie, runs up to her, then Vaggie picks up Charlie, kiss her with their start to tongue rape each other. Everybody is quiet. Izumi. Hey sluts, get a fucking room. Deku walks in and sees what's happening. One of his wings point at Izumi and cocks back. Everybody takes a step back and Izumi is sat there shaking in fear that when Deku notices Vaggie trying to brief, Deku pulls Charlie away from Vaggie. Vaggie lands on her knees breathing heavy. Charlie goes to Vaggie's side and starts patting her back and apologizing rapidly. Deku. Vaggie, why did you think it was a good idea to get into a tongue wrestle with her? Vaggie. I forgot how much air both through yours can hold, since you two could keep talking for around 20 minutes without getting out breath. Everybody goes quiet at that. Vaggie. What's Pikachu's deal? It looks like he just watched his worst nightmare. Denki. Okay, who the hell is Pikachu? Deku. Vaggie and Charlie look at each other. Kirishima. By the way, what's your problem with people being perverts? Deku. I have no problem with perverts, just when the transplant my girlfriend's hell. I'm friends with a porn star anyway. I'm going out for a bit to help him. I won't be back till late. I've already told Nezu. Mineta. Really, what's the account on? Vaggie. He's a gay porn star, will be waiting for you in your room. Iida. Isn't male and females on the opposite side of the dorms? Charlie. We have permission from Nezu to share room. Vaggie just raises her middle finger at Iida. Deku grabs Every and Ivory in a black leather jacket. Deku heads out of the building and activate the card. After a small bit of flames, he's inside the imp office. Deku sees Blitzo at his desk and sees Luna sitting on the couch. Blitzo. Hey Deku, just the man I've been waiting for. Deku. Cut the shit, what's the biz? Luna. He wants us to do a job since the other two are doing who knows what, who knows where. Deku. So who's the target? Blitzo. Portuguese, no hello or nice to see you again. Oh well, the guy who's made of sludge, so shouldn't be that hard to miss. Simply the big guy made of complete green sludge and his height, and that's usually different every time, so. Deku just nods and Lunar pulls up the book and opens a portal. They're outside of an abandoned warehouse. Deku's expression is a little sad, but he shakes it off. They both enter the warehouse to see the sludge villain. The slides villain's eyes widen. Sludge villain. Holy shit kid, you look good for a dead man. Deku. Yeah well, somebody wants you to die and the angel of death is here to deliver, but when you get to How, head to the Hazbin hotel and just tell a cat man named Husk that Izuku sent you. Sludge villain. Will do kid, so you're gonna make it quick, or is it one of those deaths where I need to feel everything I did? Deku pulls out Every and Ivory, puts both guns to the sludge villain eyes and pulls the trigger, making the sludge villain's death quick. Luna decides to chill out on Earth for a little bit since they're not expected to be back for another half an hour. Luna. So anything good to do on Earth, or is it all just heroes and villains? Deku. There's an emo shop not far from here. Luna just shrugs and gestures for Deku to read the way. Luna sees a bunch of billboards all about heroes. Luna just sighs. That's when they enter the shop Deku was talking about. She sees it's an old-fashioned one, not the newer day ones. She hears Last Resort playing in the background and is slightly bobbing her head to the music. Luna drags Deku to the clothing area and start looking around. That's when she sees a black laced bra and panties with shaped like a pentagram. She takes a look at it and walks through the changing room. She then puts it on and comes out. Deku's embarrassed, but he's trying to act nonchalant, but his failing miserably. Luna sees a black spike color with with red spikes. She takes a peacock and then grabs it. That's when Luna remembers that she doesn't have any earth money and is about to put it back, but Deku swipes it from her and decides to pay for it all. Deku, you can pay me back one day. Luna is about to protest, but Deku brings the stuff to the tail and pays for it. That's when they both realize that they took way longer than half an hour and needs to head back to hell, so Deku uses his card and they end up in an alleyway next to an ice cream place that Katie Killjoy likes. That's when Deku and Luna walk straight in the middle of the road and a truck is about to hit Luna. Deku immediately shoots out the tires and the truck goes swerving straight into the ice cream shop. Luna, is that going to buy this in the ass? Deku, don't know, don't care, because that was Killjoy's favorite place. They both head back to Imp, and as they walk in, Deku sees the sludge villain sat in the corner. Deku, Blitzo, what is he doing here? Sludge villain, well, it's a long story on that bad long. I met this guy while trying to get away from the guy who wanted me dead, and well, long story short, he hired me, so now a part of Imp. Deku, just make sure not to use your real name, there's people can get you into contracts that way. Deku pulls out the black card and snaps his fingers. There's some reason he feels exhausted and stumbles straight into the dorm building. He then heads to his room and puts both of his guns on his bedside table and squeeze in the middle of Charlie and Veggie. We cut to the next day in a bar. We see a man with hands covering his body scratching at his neck and disintegrating a controller. Shigaraki, down my hate this game, hand me the bag of games. Kurogiri. Kurogiri passes him a bag of fidget toys and other hand games. That's when his eyes land on a black cube with golden carvings all over it. He twists one part of it and it starts to play in the 8-bit version All Heal Shadow. Shigaraki, holy shit, this thing plays 8-bit music. I was running out batteries anyway. We cut to Ua a few seconds earlier. Every video is doing their own thing. Then Momo. Deku and Charlie hear the song that was playing when Momo opened the carnage trap. Momo hotel head and starts freaking out. Well, knives and swords start coming out of her body. Aizawa sees this and calls recovery girls, but that's when Deku sees the parts where weapons are coming out of her with a bit black fur. A few seconds later, recovery girl comes badging in and looking over Momo and Deku helped by removing the weapons without hurting Momo. Momo comes down when the music stopped, but then she realizes covering her body. Deku makes sure the spots are covered for now and whispers to recovery girl. Deku, I think we need to get her out of the class before anyone that realizes, because I think I forgot to mention something. Recovery girl, I'll have her in the recovery area until your class is done, then come and see us and I'll bring Nezu. That's when Momo and recovery go walking out. Everybody looks at Deku with confusion. Deku, she heard something that gave her PTSD, so she won't be joining us in class. That's when All Might and Inko comes in doing their hero catchphrases, and everybody apart from Deku and Charlie are excited. All night now, before we head to where we'll be doing this hero lesson, you're gonna need your hero costumes. Everybody gets their hero costumes and heads to the changing room. That's when everybody sees that Deku isn't using the UA suitcases. Iida, Carmen, do you mind explaining why your briefcase of a UA standard? Deku, well, that's because mine isn't UA standard. I had mine made by a friend in America, and before you ask, it is military grade. Katsuki, you think you're better than us just because you got a military grade suit. Katsuki and Shoto lock annoyed at Deku. We cut to the final battle of the day. Inko, well, since everybody has had their turn except for Carmen, and since Hatsume is currently in the infirmary after one of her inventions blew up. All Might whispered to Deku in a serious tone. All Might, you should stop playing this rebellious game and come home with your real parents. All Might walk to the front and look at the Bakugo and Todoroki twins and they nod back. Katsumi, okay Deku, I'm getting tired of you playing this little rebellious game, so I challenge you to a waiver. If we win, you have to go back to the Yagi household. Deku, I declined. Everybody goes quiet at that, and that's when All Might and Inko decide to take matters into their own hand. Inko, you know I could fail you, right? Deku, and I know you won't, because if you do, I'll just return to the place that actually cares about me. All Might, well, I'll see you fill this test unless you can beat Yagi and the Bakugo and Todoroki twins, and it will be first one conscious not defuse the bomb. Charlie's about to say something, but Deku just spreads his wings and a grenade falls right in front of the wall, blown a hole through it, and Deku flies out, hiding away from them. Around 5 minutes later, Izumi and the Bakugo and Todoroki twins set off looking for Deku. Deku is stood on top of the building with his wings spread wide. Everybody is worrying about Deku, the fact that it's a 5v1, but Deku crosses his arms and slowly starts to fly above. Their eyes lock with Deku's. Deku, you know I was going to take this easy on you and only use a few grenades, maybe a few flashbangs, but that doesn't help at all, so I'm showing you what true power really looks like. Everybody's confused, but then Deku spreads his arms and yells in a slightly demonic and angelic. Deku, max ammo. That's when what looks like the entire America spending budget on rocket launchers, grenade launchers and every kind of gun Deku winds up a monkey and throws it in front of them. It starts clapping its tamarins together for around 10 seconds. Monkey bomb. Get ready for a surprise. Before anyone could act, the monkey bomb explodes, sending all of them flying into the walls, and Deku snaps his fingers. All the guns point at them and start firing with all kinds of non-lethal rounds. The Bakugo twins start creating explosions to be in the air. Deku looks at them, unsnaps his fingers to A-10 warthogs appear next to him, and before they could do anything the missiles launch from it, hitting them, sending them flying, breaking a few of their bones. Deku looks at the absolute destruction of the city and the 5 unconscious bodies surrounding him. His wings go in and the guns and jets disappear. Deku walks back into the observation room. Deku. And now you know why I'm America's angel. Deku stumbles into Charlie's arms and falls asleep. Charlie brings him to Recovery Girl's office. After 20 minutes, Deku wakes up and sees Recovery Girls. Recovery Girl. Know that your way we can talk about what you forgot to mention. Deku. Sure, but where's Momo? Recovery Girl moves the curtain next to her to reveal a black hellhound. Momo. So explain why I look like a wolf. Deku. Hellhound. See, I haven't seen a carnage trap open personally, so there's a few details that kind of slip to my mind. Well, whoever opens a carnage trap is hellbound straight away because usually they die by whatever comes out, but for some reason they ignored you. But since you didn't go to hell, and guessing your hell body went to you, so yeah, now you're a hellhound. Nezu walks in with Charlie. Nezu. I've been doing my research on some pro heroes and I need you to meet some of the ones that have involvement with the supernatural. Deku. So when we do a small cut to where at the UA Stadium, Deku sees Mirko, Mount Lady Ray, Endeavor, Night Eye and Ryuko. Mirko. Get to the point, rat. Why have you called us all here? Nezu. Well, it's about the supernatural. Everybody here has had some encounters with them, some more than others, so I would like you all to explain how you're connected to the supernatural. Charlie. I'll go first. I'm Charlie Morningstar and I'm Lucifer's and Lilith daughter. Ray. I guess I'm going next. 10 years ago I made a deal with a demon called Alistair. Mount Lady. Well, I met some gargoyle things attacking a cemetery not long ago. Deku. I'm guessing grave jackals. They mainly feed off corpses that have been dead a while, so the main feeding place is a graveyard. Everybody looks at Deku. The fact that he knew exactly what it was just from the description. Deku. What I do research and I stumbled across stuff roving the supernatural, so I decided to study everything about it. Endeavor. Let's just get this over with. I met these succubus back when I was in America a while back. Night Eye. I jumped into these assassins. I think they were killing people for hire. Deku. I'm guessing it was imp. A bit messy, but the pros are what they do and what they do isn't pretty. Veggie. Well, I'm an angel. I died in the early 2000s and since then I've been into heaven until around 3 years ago and I'm dating the princess of hell. Ryuko. I guess me. Well, a lot like Night Eye, I bumped into the same people killing villain I was hunting down. Momo. Well, I thumped into the more chaotic versions of demons and I may not be a hellhound now because of it. Mirko. What do you mean by more chaotic versions of demons? Deku. She opened the carnage trap and became a hellhound because of it. Mirko. Okay, how do you know this? Because carnage traps is not in the supernatural shit of this world. Well, I guess I'm going next. I've been killing demons in that for as long as I can remember and I'm the Doom Slayer and Daisy's daughter. Deku. I didn't know John and Daisy had a kid. Mirko. I'm sorry, you're on the first name basis with them. Deku. I guess it's my turn. When I was 5 I went to the Doom dimension, as people from here know it has, and I may or may not have spent some time hanging around with the Doom Slayer and Daisy, aka killing demons for fun. Around 10 months ago I died and went to hell, but for some reason I'm an angel. It turns out there was a phylum mistake and I was meant to go to heaven, and the wings of guns was just because I was friends with the Slayer. Mirko. Well, shit kid, I'm surprised they never mentioned you to me, but you have any proof so I know you're not just lying. But if you know my dad and mum, that means it makes sense how you know about a carnage trap. I still don't believe you about you knowing them. Deku pulls out the Slayer shotgun. Mirko. This is bullshit. I'm not even allowed to hold that thing and yet you casually have it. Deku. I can make an icon of sin. Step back in consideration. Mirko goes quiet. Angst sits there pouting. She then jumps up and stares down Nezu. Mirko. Explain why you wanted us to explain how we know the supernatural. Nezu. Well, after the UA Sports Festival I want to go public with the supernatural. What do you all think? Deku gets an analytical look in his eyes. Deku. On one hand could bring chaos, people knowing about the supernatural, but knowing the government they might play it off as just more advanced quirks and make everybody forget about the supernatural by just saying it's all about quirks. But for the select few that do believe, well, that could bring more chaos, since all religions are right but they all have their own different heaven and hell, which means there would be arguments between religions about which one is the real one. But then we have the other hand, everybody believes us, we government doesn't play enough, and we gotta show them that not all demons are bad and not all angels are good, but that would be easier said than done. Matter. Deku is muttering about the pros and cons about if everybody knew about the supernatural. He continues to matter for around 29 minutes. Veggie kisses him, making him snap out of his muttering and embrace the kiss. Veggie: hey Izuku, you're mothering again. Deku: sorry, force of habit. Charlie: so how much of that did you all get? I only got like it the first minute of it. What about you lot? Momo: you lost me around the 15-minute mark. Everybody shakes their heads except for Ryuko. She starts to cry. Everybody looks at her. Ryuko: sorry, it's just you're definitely Hasashi's boy, there's no doubt about it. Deku: I'm sorry, you know my biological dad. Ryuko: of course I know Hasashi, he was my twin. I got the change into dragon, he got the dragon's breath. Deku: but that would make you my aunt, but why haven't you? Ryuko: Inko didn't want me to have anything to do with you. That's when Ryuko turns into her dragon form and wraps her body around him, and Deku feels a familiar warmth and falls asleep. Ryuko: sorry, I just. Charlie drugs Veggie into the dragon cuddle pile and they all fall asleep. Nezu: I'm confused, what just happened? Ryuko: well, dragons are like most lizards where they can smell their own blood and it smells relaxing and helps calm their nerves. Nezu: and I'm guessing since his dad is your twin. After around 20 minutes Ryuko moves and Deku wakes up feeling refreshed. We cut to Nezu's office a few hours later. Inko and All Might, they are looking at Nezu annoyed. All Might: what is this about? Nezu: oh, I don't know, maybe the fact that one of the UA cities are completely destroyed because of what you did. They're about to say something but Nezu races his core. Nezu: this will be your last warning. If you attempt anything against Izuku, I'm sorry, but you'll be packing up your stuff and leaving. Oh, and don't even try to get the other 5 to do something like that. Because I have 5 empty seats in 5 different classes of general education and they won't be getting into the hero course, understand? Inko and All Might nod and walk out. Deku is walking into the dorms with Charlie, Veggie hanging on his arms and Momo on his back, flustered. Suyu: so you're back, and what's with the wolf girl? Momo: what do you mean wolf girl? Kendo: wait, Momo. Before anything, Momo passes out on Deku's back but snuggling into the back of his neck. Deku: yes, that is Momo. Iida: but explain why she looks like that. Deku: well, you've heard of quirk evolution. It's when somebody's quirk, after a traumatic or stressful instance, their quirk force itself to evolve. But since Momo's quirk of rolled around creation, it tucked into her mom's quirk genes, and since her mom had an animal-based quirk. Muttering. Momo: you're muttering again. Deku: sorry, I can't like that, mainly around topics of quirks. Iida and Kendo: I got lost halfway through. Veggie picks up Momo from Deku's back. Veggie is holding Momo bridal style. Before Deku could let out a chuckle, Charlie picks him up the same way and cabbies them to their bedroom. Charlie puts Deku on the bed next to Momo. That when Deku see Charlie and Veggie take a swig of one of Angel Dust's strongest energy drinks, Deku lets out a soft groan. Momo: oh fuck. Veggie: sure, you asked for it. Veggie takes a huge sip of the energy drink, grapes Momo by the neck and pull her in for a kiss. Veggie uses a tongue to open Momo's mouth and starts feeding Momo the energy drink through a kiss. After a few seconds, Momo stops fighting. The back in her arms goes numb for a second. Momo's tail starts swishing like a predator ready to punch. Momo walks on all fours to Deku. Charlie turns into her demon form and runs one of her cord fingers down Deku's body from his neck to his waist and then rips his clothes off in one clean motion. Deku: I don't have any condoms. Veggie: well, today is my safe day. Momo: and I can make morning after pills. Deku goes quiet as Momo starts moving her tail around Deku's dick, slowly starts to rub it. Veggie grabs a strap on and pushes Charlie against the wall. Veggie: I get Izuku after you, Momo. Momo: I hope he's got stamina left to this wolf about to go wild. Deku: do I get this say in this? Momo positions herself right above Deku's dick and lets out a soft growl. Deku: well, hope you ready to stumble to class tomorrow. Deku grabs Momo's hands and turns her over with her legs hanging off the edge of the bed. Momo let out a soft seductive growl. Deku starts moving his hips back and forward. Momo: how are yous so good? Deku: I have the Princess of Hell as one of my fiancé, plus Husk gave me a few tips and tricks. Momo lights out a huge howl welcoming Deku continues going and grabs Momo's boobs start playing with her nipples. Momo create a muzzle to stop herself from breaking the windows with how loud she is howling. Deku stats thrusting all the way and finally comes in. Momo is lying there passed out from pleasure with a silly smile on her face. Veggie wraps arms around Deku's neck and turn him around for a passionate kiss. Veggie. Fuck my brains out. Deku. And I'm guessing Charlie is satisfied for the minute. Deku sees Charlie would accept a spied smile while leaning against the wall. She's gotten full demonic and looking at Deku with a hungry look. Deku. Well, I'll try and make it fast since I don't want to keep the Princess of Hell waiting. Deku rams his dick straight into Vaggie's vagina and pushes her down next to Momo. He leans down while moving his hips and bite Vaggie's nipples making her own loud. That's when Momo create a ball gag in her tail puts it in Vaggie's mouth. Deku starts going faster and harder. Vaggie passes out from the intensity. Charlie. I hope you're ready cause we're gonna be at this all night. Charlie jumps on Deku. We cut to the next day. Charlie wakes up, her head is hurting her but then she sees Deku and Veggie hugging. He sees a black tail swishing around on the other side and immediately assumes it's Momo. She gently gets up but realizes she's naked and covered in cum. When Charlie moves she nudges Deku's and Veggie wings making them both wake up. Veggie. Why does it feel like my body got hit by a train? Veggie tries to get up but can't feel her legs. She looks at an unconscious Momo next to them with a huge brain and her tail wagging. Veggie uses her wing to nudge Momo awake. Momo slowly wakes up. Momo. Okay, is it just me or can you not feel your likes? Charlie and Veggie. Actually we can't hyper. Deku picks up Veggie as he moves Veggie. He moves his dick out of her vagina making her moan. Deku, Charlie and Momo look at it. Wade. Momo blushing. Charlie's eyes lock with one of Angel Dust's energy drinks. Charlie. So that's what I'm covered in. Deku. Yeah, it's a good thing we got our own shower. All of them let out soft laugh. Charlie picks up Veggie and curries her to the shower. Deku is left in the room with Momo. Momo. So can you explain what that was cause I don't even remember a bit of it. And Deku. The porn star I was talking about, he's Angel Dust. He's a good person but and well he kinda has the fingers buying energy drinks that are made for sex and I'm guessing Charlie and Veggie grabbed one thinking it was one of theirs. One thing led to a next and well now we have this. Momo not a long while creating morning after pills. She takes one and leave the rest on the side for the other two. Momo. So is this just the one night thing or? Charlie. NOPU. One of US now. Deku and Momo look at the bathroom door and let out a soft chuckle. Deku. So we can join them or wait till after? Momo. I don't mind. Deku picks up Momo and heads into the bathroom. We cut to an hour later. Everybody is sat in the common area, all the girls looking tired and embarrassed. Momo's tail is still wagging like a puppy. Juro. It sounds like you four had fun last night. Deku. I'm sorry what? Kendo. Wolves are soundproof but the door isn't. Deku. Fuck you rat. Mineta. How in the actual fuck could you satisfy free women at once? All the boys go quiet and look at Deku. Deku you just shrugs. Deku. No offense, why would I tell you anything, pervert? Tori and Mina drugs Momo, Charlie and Veggie and starts bombarding them with questions. Deku sees the time and sees they got around half an hour to get to class. Deku picks up Momo and Charlie. Deku. Veggie, try not to mention anything to Aunt Midnight or you won't hear the end of it. Veggie nods and grabs her spear while walking out the door. Iida. Isn't it illegal to carry a weapon around especially on school campus? Deku. What about my wings? Iida just goes quiet at that and Deku carries Momo and Charlie to the class. He carries them to their seats and sits them down. Well, he sits in the middle of them. Aizawa looks at them. Aizawa. Hey problem child, at least tell me you would being safe last night. Deku. Don't worry, Momo creates some morning after pills. Aizawa. But one thing I have to know, how can you satisfy free women to the point where they pass out? Deku. Why do you want to know? Aizawa. I lost the bat and now I'm dating joke and don't let her hear this but it's less annoying than I thought. Deku. Well, try to pace yourself when doing it, nothing too fast or too heavy until you know she's on the edge. Aizawa looks at Deku and not 10 minutes later the class arrives 5 minutes before the bell rings. Aizawa. There is no asking problem child about what happened last night, I add. A word with the rat and you'll be soundproofing all the doors as well, and about the incident yesterday with the press breaking onto the school ground, it has been sorted and now you're gonna have to choose a class president, sort it however you want, and taking a nap. Aizawa grabs his sleeping bag and drags it to the corner. He then falls asleep and everybody starts asking everybody to choose them. Katsuki. Extras fucking pick me or I'll blow you back to Kingdom Come. Momo. How about we settle it with a vote? Suyu. But wouldn't everybody just vote for themselves? Kiro. Iida. If that's the case then the person with the most votes will become class president. Deku. Oh, how about just no voting for yourself? Everybody looks at Def View and agrees that would be the smart idea. After 20 minutes of people's voting, the votes are as followed. Iida. The vote is as follows. Izuku Carmen 5 votes. Charlie Morningstar 0 votes. Momo Yaoyorozu 4 votes. Katsuki Bakugo 0 votes. Katsumi Bakugo 1 votes. Shoto Todoroki 0 votes. Shoko Todoroki 0 votes. Tenya Iida 0 votes. Tsuyu Asui 0 votes. Ochako Uraraka 0 votes. Eijiro Kirishima 0 votes. Izumi Yagi 4 votes. Denki Kaminari 0 votes. Mina Ashido 0 votes. Fumikage Tokiyami 0 votes. Kyoka Jiro 0 votes. Toru Hagakure 0. Mei Hatsume 0 votes. Itsuka Kendo 0 votes. Koji Koda 0 votes. Mezzo Shoji 0 votes. Rikido Sato 0 votes. Masharao Ojiro 0 votes. Yui Kodai 0 votes. Minoru Mineta 0 votes. That would make Izuku Carmen a class president, but there's a type of vice president. Denki. Hold on, where's Mineta? Everybody looks at Mineta's empty seat. Deku. Why, he's getting replaced by Hitoshi Shinso, who should be here soon, and I'm taking Momo as my voice rap. Aizawa. We will be heading to a off-campus facility for rescue training. Get your hero costumes or your PE uniform since you're not used to your hero costumes yet. Deku and Momo immediately jump up, Momo creating a Cortana made of silver and Deku spinning out ebony and ivory and looking around the class for any signs of a portal opening. The song then stops. Aizawa. Problem child, what was that about? Deku. Let's just say if it's what I think it is, it's bad news. Momo. We've been hearing it for a little while now. Aizawa. Well, just make sure you don't shoot anyone when you're freaking out. Shinso. Is this normal or? Denki. The Cortanas knew, but they do that now and again. We cut to the boys' changing room. Deku grabs his hero costumes case and opens it to see his usual hero costume, making up of a black hooded leather jacket with 2 holes on the back for his wings, a plain white t-shirt, big black combat boots with metal covering the bottom and front, a dark green belt with 2 gun holsters, and plain dark green jeans he sees from May to complete jet black Cortanas with dark green emeralds in the handles and 2 names engraved into the blade, Deadpool and Dean Winchester, and in back sheets for them. Deku. Fucking demonic shit, May, how the hell did, oh wait, we've known each other years, never mind. Dark Shadow. Goddamn, that thing's cool. Tokiyami. Indeed, the shadows surround those blades. Deku. Hey Tokiyami, you know Dark Shadow's a girl, right? Everybody stops what they're doing and looks at Dark Shadow and Tokiyami. Tokiyami. I'm sorry, what? Deku. By the looks of things, you're conjoined twins, and Tokiyami, your quirk is a crow's head and Dark Shadows is making her a living shadow. Dark Shadow. How the hell could you tell? I've been stuck to this idiot for years and he hasn't realized. Everybody sees Tokiyami looks like Denki when he uses his quirk. Deku. Well, for stats off, when we get change, the area where your face is kind of goes 2 shades darker and your voice is slightly distorted because you made a shadow, but it's still female. Deku finishes getting dressed and everybody is looking at him gobsmacked that he could tell Dark Shadow was a girl. Everybody is quiet and we cut to the bus. Deku. Line up in lowest to highest of your seat number and enter the bus one by one and sit any way you want. Iida. Class president, I don't think this is very efficient. Deku. Actually, it's more efficient than people just walking onto the bus and picking a seat randomly. After 5 minutes of everybody picking out their seats, Deku is sat in the front open area with 2 empty seats next to him because of how big his wings are. Tsuyu. Hey Carmen. Deku. Please just call me Izuku. And what is it, Tsuyu? Tsuyu. Well, if that's the case, just call me Sue. Well, I usually just say what's on my mind, so how big is your dick, Kiro? Everybody looks at Tsuyu and then at Deku. Tsuyu. Don't take it the wrong way, I am not straight, it's just cause I think like 90% of us girls heard what happened in your room last night, Kiro. Shinso. I'm sorry, what happened last night since I only joined the class today? Katsuki. The fucker fuck the blonde hair bimbo and the wolf. That's when Aizawa is about to step in, but Deku's wing twitches in Morse code telling Aizawa just ignore him. Deku. Well, it's not that big. Charlie and Momo. Not that big. They both say, well, slamming their hands onto their knees. Charlie. It's fucking 10 inches. All the boys in the bus stop and look down at their dick. Aizawa. You're fucking bigger than me. Deku. Wait, what? Tsuyu. But what is your quirk exactly, since you can seem to make any weapon out of thin air and those guns on your side never run out of ammo or need reloading, Kiro? Deku. Well, that's easy, my quirk of technically makes me the living embodiment of American military spending. Izumi. Can't be in that much, can it? Charlie. Actually, in the first half of the 2000s it was $1 trillion. Everybody is looking at Deku with wide eyes and slacked out. Deku. Yeah, but well, I technically don't have a spending limit, I technically just make as many weapons as I want. Kendo. You said weapons but you spawned 2 jets. Deku. A10 warthogs. Katsuki and Katsumi. Steel fucking technically jets. Deku. No, it's technically a plane, but apart from that it's technically a gun with wings since 90% of its inner is a big machine gun the size of a small truck. Kirishima. Hold on to your Charlie. He's a military nerd through and through. Kirishima. So what vehicles can you make? Deku. Well, mainly anything that has more weapon than anything, so mainly tanks. I can summon an F-15 and missile carriers. Jiro. Finally another military nerd. Everybody looks at Jiro and what she said. Deku. I'm sorry, can you speak up? Not all of us have super hearing. Jiro. I said at least there's another military nerd in the class because none of you know what peak music is. Deku. Go ahead, mean free bands and I name some songs. Jiro. Well, it's better than nothing. Okay, let's go with AC/DC. Deku. Thunderstruck Highway to Hell and TNT. Everybody but Charlie is surprised by the name of those songs, and the band name Momo has started to listen to those bands because of Deku listening to them all the time. Jiro. Well done, next one, Skillet. Deku. Feel invincible, monster and victorious. Jiro. This last one is Sega. Deku. Break through it all, undefeatable, find your flame and I'm here. Everybody is surprised, they've never even heard any of those bands or songs. Kirishima. I'm sorry, but I keep up with all of the manly songs and I've never heard them before. Deku. That's because every music after 2018 is complete bullshit, but the one exception is Eminem. Before anyone could say anything, the bus stops and Aizawa gets up and walks through the bus door. Aizawa. Come on, we're here. Everybody enters the USJ and face to face with 13 inches. 13. Great, there's a few things I want to get salted. As you know, my quirk is black hole. Not only can it be used to save people, it can also be used to kill people. Deku. Yeah, cause Momo could make a minigun. Bakugos are walking nukes just from the top of my head. Alright, and we have the fact I'm a literally walking arsenal. 13. Exactly, used to save or kill, it's just how you use it, and today you'll be learning how to save people. Deku walks past them and stares up the fountain like it just offended him. Aizawa. What is it, problem child? Deku. Charlie, check the door. Everybody's confused, but Charlie walks to the door and tries to open it, but it's sealed shut. Charlie. Locked. Deku. Got it, wanna stay close. As he says that, a huge black portal appears in the center of the USJ and a few extra portals in the rescue areas. That's when Deku eyes narrow on the guy Covenant, hands fidgeting with a carnage strap. Deku. Hey Handy Mandy, stop fidgeting with that. Shigaraki. I'm sorry, what did you call me? As he says that, the final piece clicks and red demonic portals start opening around the USJ. The sky in the USJ turns red and the smoky. A few imps gets their hands on some villains and starts ripping them apart, their screams echoing, putting everybody except for Momo, Charlie, May and Deku on edge. Deku. Momo, silver weapons now. Momo. On it. Momo stops and creating silver weapons. Charlie pulls out a trident with an apple in the center and May is analyzing the carnage trap. Deku sees 20 motors and 40 cyber demons with hundreds of imps and a bunch of others around the place. Deku's about to charge, but then he smells sulfur in the air. Deku. Charlie, do you smell something familiar? Charlie. Smells like sulfur. Deku. Defend the class. Aizawa. What are you going to do, problem child? Deku walks to the top of the stairs and looks down at the carnage fight between demons and villains. Deku. I'm about to do what Limp Bizkit did to the music in the late 1900s. Katsumi. Oh Deku, where do you think you're going? Deku. We're in my domain now, bitches. Before anyone could say anything, Deku pulls out his 2 new katanas and jumps straight down the stairs, missing all of them. There's 2 imps on the bottom ready to charge up the stairs, but then get their heads removed. Everybody goes quiet and all the demons stare at Deku. Motor 1. So a kid has chosen death too. Deku spins out ebony and ivory and opens fire, turning the mortar into Swiss cheese. Katsumi looks at Deku and sighs. She gets ready to explosions in her hands and explodes, rocketing right past Momo and swiping to daggers she made of silver. Katsumi comes zooming down right on another mortar, stabbing it in both of its eyes, and that rips them out through the ears. Katsumi. I'm sorry about everything in the past, it was Azumi's idea. Disappointed. Deku. You're the only one that at most gave me a burn on the shoulder. We'll talk after this. That's when Deku makes 2 miniguns on his side and they start shredding through all of the imps. Shigaraki. Nomu, kill all of them. That's when the big cloaked figure next to him removes his cloak to reveal a really fast purple-skinned creature with an exposed brain and a bird beak for a mouth. It rips apart imps with little ease, but a cyberdemon rips it in half and destroys its brain. Shigaraki, mind if we team up? He says to Deku while freaking out a little. Deku points ebony and ivory at his head and fires. The bullets whiz past his ears and headshots two imps that were behind him. Deku, I'm Izuku Carmen, but you can call me Player 1. Shigaraki Tamura, and I guess that makes me Player 2. Deku and Shigaraki both have a slang hint of amusement in their eyes, like two brothers who are ready to rock a lobby together. Deku tosses him an SMG with a random mag and a red dot sight. Shigaraki, wow, I never knew I would be playing with somebody with infinite weapon cheats. A cyber demon holds its arm out and gets ready to launch missiles, but it gets annihilated by Deku and Shigaraki, the both running around like Call of Duty characters and killing all the demons they see. That's when a loud scream comes from the top of the stairs and Deku eyes locked with the imp standing behind Jiro. We cut a 5 minute earlier. Jiro, damn Charlie, your boyfriend got guts. Charlie, trust me, this is him being calm. We all remember what happened when he's annoyed. Momo, hey everybody, take a weapon, they're made of 100% silver, so they should work to kill these things. Everybody grabs a weapon. It's shakily as an imp charges from behind. Dark Shadow wraps herself around it and Shinso stabs it in the head with a knife. Dark Shadow and Shinso fist bump and Jiro gets stopped in the back by an imp. Jiro bits out a bunch of blood. That's when a bullet goes flying past everybody's head, blowing the imp's head clean off. Everybody looks down at the center from where the bullet came from and see Deku pissed off. Katsumi drags Shigaraki to where everybody else was. Deku's eyes glow green as you slowly flies up in the air. Deku's voice is barely above a whisper, but it is heard clear through the entire USJ. Deku, kaboom, as Deku says that, his wings and a whole lot of sniper rifles and desert eagles surround him and go off, ripping apart all of the villains and demons. Kurogiri uses his portal around everybody, defending them from the bullets. After 20 minutes the bullet and gunshots finally stop Deku, who makes his way up the stairs and everybody moving out of his way as he walks to Jiro's body. Momo, I did what I can, but it went right through her heart. Deku, finish the fucking puzzle box. Shigaraki, on it. Shigaraki films with the puzzle box, closing it. Deku, don't ever fiddle with that thing again. Shigaraki, got it. So what, are we a team or? Deku, continue with building the League of Villains, just you report everything to me, so you're inside man. Kurogiri, what are we meant to tell the actual boss? Deku, there was a kid who killed all of them in less than 20 minutes. Shigaraki and Kurogiri, simply not an opener portal. They end up back in the bar, but then a bullet flies right through the portal, hitting one of the glasses. We cut back to the USJ. Deku picks up Jiro's body and create a rocket launcher, blowing the door of the USJ off. Everybody sees that the sky is red with some spikes hanging down. Kendo, hey Carmen, where are we? Deku, home. Everybody's confused about that, but they follow Deku. They walk around 40 minutes before getting to an outskirt of Cannibal Town. They walk in and see a bunch of people eating different body parts. Iida, Carmen, where are we? Deku, right before we go any further, there are some rules that I need to. Katsuki, fuck off Deku, we don't need. Deku, shut the fuck up or else. Everybody goes quiet at the fact. Deku snap. Deku, start off. The supernatural real legends are monsters and all that are real. Kendo, yeah I know. Everybody stops and looks at her. Kendo, half succubus here. Deku, oh. Okay, well, as I would say, in hell's real, heaven's real, so is Valhalla. When you die you end up in some form of the afterlife depending on what you've done. Shinso, and I'm guessing we're in Satan's domain. Charlie, who's that? Deku, no, we're in Lucifer's domain. Satan has his domain beneath Lucifer's right now on the outskirts of Cannibal Town. Suyu, so I'm guessing somewhere about the gluttony. Kiro, Momo, if I remember correctly there is a town for all the 7 sins and a few others, so that whole 9 circles of hell isn't exactly wrong. Deku, now using your real names or your full names, because people can put you into soul contracts with that. Deku looks down in his arms and sees as Jiro's hair is covering her face and he moves it aside. They all walking through the town. Iida is trained not to throw up, to be disrespectful. That's when Deku turns back while under a gazebo with them. Deku, I'll be back in a minute. I'm going to get a friend of ours who lives here to give us a hand. Charlie, Rosie, Deku, since she's the closest and could help us compared to if we went somewhere else, and Imp's not going to be open till tomorrow, but for the next week's gonna be busy with you know who. Everybody's confused, but Deku walks into the building directly to the left and they're watching people walk past staring at them, but everybody is confused since this is meant to be a part of hell. But yeah, it looks like in normal old-fashioned town. We kept a Deku waiting in line to see Rosie. He gets the front and Rosie see him. Rosie, Izuku Carmen, what do I have the pleasure of hell's next royalty? Deku, cut the formalities man, if we take this outside. Rosie peeks her head around and sees Deku's class chilling under the gazebo. She nod and they head to the gazebo where the class is. Aizawa, problem child, who is this? Rosie, I'm the somewhat leader of Cannonball Town, so Izuku, what is it that you want? Deku. Well, I need you to call Alistair or somebody at the hotel to get us back to the hotel. Rosie sees the Bakugo and Todoroki twins and Izumi. Deku. Sorry Rosie, but they're not dead yet. Rosie. Now and send why you want a lift back. Why does the female Pomeranian look upset? Deku. She wants to make up with me, but it's complicated. Rosie whispers to Deku. Rosie. So how long are you planning on being in hell? Deku. Imp still has a contract that should have 7 days left, so we're kinda stuck here till then. Well, I can tell us all back with the card, but I don't only use it. Rosie. Cautious before action. How about this? I straighten up Katsumi to see if she really wants to make up with you. By the way, how did you get down here and what with the girl in your arms? Deku, who looks down at Jiro's body. Deku. Somebody opened a large-scale carnage trap sending us down here and she died because of it. Rosie. I'll be back after I call Husk. Deku. Hey Katsumi. Katsumi raises her head and looks at Deku. Deku. The rest of us will be heading to the hotel. You'll be staying here with Rosie. Katsumi. Okay. Deku. I've used your first name or an A-list, I don't really care. That's when the next explosion goes off in the distance with a huge pink smoke coming from it. Everybody's confused, but Deku and Charlie look at each other. Deku and Charlie. Cherry bomb. Deku. Rosie, your mind looking after her. Rosie takes Jiro body and nod the entire class minus as Katsumi is running to where the explosion was. When they get there, they see a group of different kinds of demons shooting at a pale-skinned Cyclops wearing a pink t-shirt. Cherry bomb. At the end of your territory or I blow it up. Gang member 1. Can, what makes you think you're hand over our territory to a fucking Cyclops like you? Cherry bomb ignites some of her explosives and tosses them towards all of the gang members. They take cover and starts shooting at her. Aizawa. Problem child, what's going on? Deku. People fighting over domain. Usually I wouldn't intervene, but fuck it, we're in hell, still got some steam to blow off. Momo. But wouldn't you kill them permanently? Charlie. You can change his ammo at will, so 1 second he could have rounds that could kill demons permanently, next second he could be shooting rubber bullets. Besides, you're immortal as long as it's not holy weapons or the Doom Slayer's weapons, so technically Momo, you're immortal. Momo. Technically now I'm a hell's residence. Aizawa. I'm sorry, what? Deku. Whoever opens a carnage trap is doomed to go down to hell no matter what. The only thing is, if the chaotic versions of demons don't kill you, you will turn into a demand in the human world. Kendo. Well, that makes a whole lot of sense now. Deku. By the way, Kendo, what's your mum's name, since I might know her? Kendo just shrugs. One of Cherry bomb's bombs rolls on the floor in front of them and Deku kicks it like a football, sending it flying back the way it came. Deku. Hey, Cherry bomb needs some backup. Everybody stops fighting at that and look towards where the sound came from. All the gang members go pale when they see a Deku. Cherry bomb just raises a bomb ignited and chucks it towards the gang. That's when a big hellhound twice as buff as All Might walks from a building with a giant machine gun the size of his arm. Deku. Lesson 1 of being in hell: if you can fuck shit up, fuck some shit up. As Deku says that, he pulls out to a 8-cylinder M134 minigun. Deku starts to shoot the minigun and it's that ripping all the demons apart. Everybody looks towards a Deku. The fact that he would whip out such a big minigun for small fry. After 10 minutes of continuous fire, Deku finally stopped. That's when a limo starts ragging down the street and crashes right into a demon that managed to not get shot. That's when Angel Dust sticks his head out of the driver's side. Angel Dust. Need a ride? Deku. Show about Husk driving. Husk. I told you he don't want you driving. Cherry bomb. Hey, thank you for back there. Izuku, mind if I get a lift to the hotel? Deku. No, I don't mind. Deku stops and feels like he's forgetting something, but then his face goes pale. Charlie. What is it? Deku. We forgot to message Lucifer and my mom that we're in hell. Charlie. I could message them now. I don't have my phone on me. Deku. Exactly, and Veggie is still in the human world. Charlie. When we get back, she's having you all to herself for a week. I've got Momo. Momo. Hey, you can't just never mind is fair. Deku. I need to go back to get Jiro. Deku spreads his wings in the flyover to Cannibal Town. Everybody gets in the limo waiting for Deku. Iida. Okay, I need the full story about what the hell's going on. Aizawa. I know most of it, but I need to hear it all since my head is kind of all over the place. Charlie. I won't give you the full details, but I can give you the baseline. Around the year ago, Izuku was killed by them. Charlie says while pointing at Katsuki, Izumi and the Todoroki twins. Everybody looks at them shocked. Tsuyu. How did they get into Ua then? Kiro. Charlie. Yagi's parents are the number 1 and number I think 10 heroes, so she got in no matter what because of her parents, and the other 4 because they are powerful quirks and Izuku is quirkless. Iida. No offense, he has wings and infinite weapons, there's no way a quirkless can do that. Charlie. As I was saying, he was quirkless until he died and became an angel of death, not the AC-130. He woke up down here and helped with the purges. The purges was kind of a thing that inures to kind of stop the ever-growing population of hell, but when it came down to the final fight, Izuku killed Adam. Ochako. Adam as in the first dick. Everybody goes quiet at that and Charlie starts laughing. Charlie. Yes, Veggie is also an angel, but she kind of got stuck down here after a purge went wrong and I kind of took her in and she became my girlfriend. Then after the fight we kind of got drunk on angel dust. One of my most potent energy drinks. Aizawa. Okay, who are you exactly? Angel dust. Sup, I'm Angel Dust, Hell's resident pornstar. Suyu. So that's what Izuku meant by he knows a pornstar, and what kind of energy drink was it, Kiro? Angel dust. One that helps with your sex drive. 1A looks at Charlie and realizes that's how Deku was dating them both. Momo. So that's what happened to me. Angel dust. I'm guessing Vaj's packed a few of my energy drinks for the nights when she needs a kick since she can't keep up with yours and Izuku's stamina. Charlie. Yeah, but as I was saying about around then we met Momo cause she accidentally opened a carnage trap and whoever opens it is how about Poland Lee I've had by getting killed by what comes out all turning naturally, and that's how we went to UA. Angel dust. By the way, what's with Pikachu over there? Denki. Who the fuck is this Pikachu? 3 people call me Pikachu. Angel dust. Watch Pokemon Pikachu. Everybody goes quiet as they wait for Deku. May sights on Charlie's lop. Charlie. Hey, May. I don't trust myself not to kill them with an adjustable spanner. Deku enters the limo and puts Jiro lying down with her head on his lap. Mina. How do you know Jiro? Cause there is no way somebody who met her just over 2 weeks ago it came for her like that. Deku. Well, I actually used to have a hobby that wasn't exactly legal and we met a few times at the street races, and one thing like to an extent we hung out now and again but never really talking about personal stuff. Kendo. What kind of car was it? May pulls out a picture. May. It's been sat in my family since the 2000s and Izuku managed to get up and running well few street races in and he was already famous, so. Everybody hears groaning. A bright glow envelops the inside of the limo. Everybody rubs their eyes once the light stops and they all look at Jiro's body to see it took a huge change. Jiro's golden wings flap and one of them cuts Izumi's eyes out and she starts screaming. Jiro slowly opens her eyes to look around. Best realizes half of a face is covered by her. She sees her hair as a silver with white spots in it. She sees her outfit as a white t-shirt and black pants with golden tip high heels. Jiro. Why does my chest feel like I've just been stopped? Deku. An imp stabbed you in the back and well you're an angel. Jiro blinks twice and falls back asleep on Deku's lap. May throws a spanner at Izumi, knocking her out. May. And that's how you get a ditch to shut up. After a half an hour drive they get to the hotel. Everybody gets out and looks up at the hotel. Deku. Old one got destroyed so we made this one. Everybody walks into the hotel and they look around surprised since it's the equivalent of a 5-star hotel. Iida. This place is more fancy than half of the places I've been to. Ochako. I don't think I can afford a room in this place for centuries. Everybody hears a fake calf and Deku slowly turns around. Carmilla. You didn't message. Deku. Some video opened the carnage trap on. We ended up down here plus we left our phones back in the dorms. Carmilla. Yellow key, you have an angel next to you to prove it. Jiro. What do you mean by an angel? Deku. Hey Jiro, bathroom's first door on the right, gonna have a look in the mirror. Jiro shrugs and walks to the bathroom. That's when Aizawa sees the bar, walks up to it and sits down. Husk sees this, lets out an amused scoff. You then walks behind the bar and starts pouring drinks. Aizawa. So do I have to pay for these or? Deku. No offense, you don't really pay in hell. Deku hears a knock on the front door and slowly opens it to see Valentino. Before Deku could say anything he gets pushed out the way and Valentino walks up to Angel Bust. Deku. Valentino, what are you doing here? Valentino. I came here to get my property since he hasn't been to the club in a while. Valentino put his finger and thumb on Angel Dust chain. May walks right past them to the stairs. Bay points at an old piano that never gets to used. Nifty and May push the piano to the banister directly above Valentino and Deku raises 3 fingers and May and Nifty nod. Angel Dust. There's no need, I'll go with him. Deku. Actually no you won't. Valentino. And what makes you say that I own his soul? As Valentino says that he pulls out angel dust contract, Deku looks at it and sees angel dust did sign with his real name. Deku. Well, the contract's valid. Valentino. Of course it. Deku. But I see several loopholes. Valentino grabs the contract and looks it over, seeing no loopholes to his eyes. Valentino. I don't see any loopholes. Deku. I'll list them for you. Loophole number 1, it specifically says when in a Valentino property, but last I checked the hotel is not your property, so you have no command over him while he's here. Second, you own half angel dust soul, which means if somebody owns the other half they can negate this contract. And my favorite loophole, yes, angel dust signed with his legal human name, but you didn't. I check both parties need to have the human names. Angel dust. What the fuck are you getting at? Valentino. Yeah, no offense, I don't believe you know what soul contract is. Deku. I'm sure I don't. Friday, James Phillips. Everybody is looking at Deku, even Alistair is quiet. Valentino. How did you? Deku. Well, first you have to be a big shot in the human world to be a big shot down here, and I link the fact that you're from between the 1800s to 1900s and you were a real big show back then, so I wasn't hard to find you in police database. Everybody goes pale and Alistair is internally freaking out. Alistair pulls out his and Husk's contract to double check there's no loopholes. Deku. Took me 20 minutes to know all that. Think I could do with an hour besides piano. Valentino. What? May and Nifty push the piano off the banister. Valentino gets the piano directly on his head, making the contract roll to Deku's feet. He throws it in the air, pulls out a flamethrower and torches it. Deku. Now get your jackass, get lost before I take you to one of the slayers. Valentino immediately gets up and book it. Everybody decides to ignore what just happened for the sake of their own sanity. Over the next week everybody is enjoying themselves in hell, and to everybody's surprise Katsumi's personality has completely changed. She's more polite and calm around everybody. Deku. Dan, Rosie, I didn't know you could change her personality so much. Rosie. It wasn't my best work, but I straightened her out with what time I had. Now if you'll excuse me, I have to head back to Cannibal Town. Rosie leaves and everybody is sat in the main room talking. May. This isn't a bad place you got. Charlie. Thanks, but the last one kind of got destroyed. Kendo. Really, how? Alistair. I don't mind showing you the footage of the fight, but I'll skip to the main part where Mr. Carmen showed the first man what death looks like. He then shows everybody on the TV the footage of the extermination day. Everybody is surprised with how badass Deku was. Mai and Jiro are bobbing their head to the music when Deku kicks down some rubble with the minigun out. After they watch it, everybody is just sat there surprised. Carmilla. It's too bad I wasn't there to give him my hand, but I had to do other orders. Odette. I mean, it's pretty good with those weapons. Clara. Of course he is. I mean, he did hit an exorcist with the Doomslayer shotgun the first time we met. Deku. I didn't see you there. Odette. Well, we've been here the whole time. Deku. Blitzo should be done with his job tomorrow, so we'll be able to get a lift with him back. Clara, why don't you just use the card that God gave you? Everybody goes quiet and looks at Deku for fact that he had a way home this entire time. Iida. Hold on, you had a way back this entire time and you never told us. Deku. It has 2 trips in it every day and I can only transport 10 people, which means you would take 3 days to get the entire class including myself back, and I'm the only one who knows how to use it. Momo. Plus the way he's talking about might have a limit in general, so there was no always using it, so one day could just stop and couldn't get back. Kendo. Okay, that is a fair point. Deku. Beside a break and use now know about the supernatural, we don't have to tiptoe around it. Suyu. So just for sake of my own sanity, you tell us all how you are connected to supernatural. Deku. Died, came to hell and became an angel, and I got adopted by an overlord of hell. Momo. Opened a carnage trap and summoned the bad demons to my house, killing my family and everybody else, and well, just recently I turned into a hellhound. Denki. Carnage trap. Oh, did you mean the thing that was opened in the USJ? Charlie. Yes, well, as you know, I'm Charlie Morningstar, also known as the Princess of Hell. Kendo. And I'm half succubus, but I'm not sure who my mum is. Aizawa. Okay, that makes a lot of sense, and the only reason I know about the supernatural is because a problem child. Everybody hits the bedroom since this will be their last night in hell. All the girls decide to have a sleepover in the same room while all the boys are chilling in the main room. Tokiyami. Who is this Doomslayer I hear you talk about? Mezzo. Name like that, he has to be at least a little badass. Deku. Is just an old friend of mine I met when I was around 5, and those chaotic things we were fighting in the USJ, yeah, he deals with those things on the daily. Kirishima. Dude sounds manly. Shoto. If he's friends with you, he must be weak as hell. Deku. He's also Mirko the rabbit hero's dad. Katsuki. No chance you're friends with some of that badass. Deku pulls out his phone and looks for one of the Doom Slayers fight. He then puts it through the TV. Deku. This will be a music video since his AI put it together for me. All the boys' apartment. Deku just sat there gobsmacked. We cut to the girls' room. Mina. So how is our resident broccoli in bed? Charlie. Somebody who acts so nice he is a monster under the sheets. Izumi. A strike not to vomit about how you think about her brother in front of her. Momo. So girls, what's your type? Jiro. Women. Everybody stops and looks at her. Izumi face turns green and she starts vomiting. Ochako slaps her across the face making her float and kicks her out of the room. Ochako. What? Kendo. I was about to knock her out but that works. Jiro. Wait, none of your homophobic. Charlie. I have 2 girlfriends and a boyfriend. Momo. Same. They continue talking till it gets late. May. Who wants to have a little bet? Mina and Toru. What kind of bet? May. When we get back let's see how long it takes Midnight to summon a demon for her own pleasure. Charlie. Okay, I need to get this straight. Summoning circles don't actually just summon demons, they can summon angels, primordial beings. They can't do something almost anything non-living. Katsumi. What about the whole deal with souls? Momo. If I remember what Izuku said, you can make deals with games either with a solid object that's worth what you want or your soul, aka your life force, but there are always 1 or 2 new poles that can't be avoided in all soul contracts. Suyu. So I'm guessing Izuku is just a walking encyclopedia of everything. All the girls look out cover and then start giggling. May. So about the bet. All girls start placing different bets on how desperate Midnight is now. He cut to teacher's dorms. Midnight sneezes and looks around confused but then goes back to reading through a book of demonic summons. We cut to the next day. All the girls are back from shopping and they have a bunch of bags. Blitzo walks in with the rest of P. Luna is looking at Deku with a slight blush but she covers it with her usual expression. Blitzo is about to do a business scheme but Moxie takes the book and opens a portal to the 1A dorms. Everybody walks back through and come face to face with All Might and Inko. They're about say something but Deku glides him down. Deku. You know, if you spend more time being a teacher than a hero you would at least have been there. Deku walks in the direction of his room. All Might. Why will you brat? Iida. No offense All Might since I say but don't talk to us. Inko. Izumi, explain what happened. Jiro. Of course you only care about her. Everybody except for Katsuki, Izumi, Shoto and Shoko goes to their rooms. All Might. Why isn't Katsumi stained here to talk? Katsuki. Because according to Deku she got a reality check and sought herself out. Inko. What have you learned about his so-called new mum? Shoto. Well, she is an arm dealer in hell. She has 2 of the kids, both girls. Apart from that she's pretty ordinary. Well, apart from her shoes are made of metal and they can kill with them. Aizawa. Listen, don't even think about it or you will regret it. He then looks at the rest of the dorms and shout from the bottom of his lungs. Aizawa. Sports festival is in a week so get ready. He then leaves the dorms and heads out. Deku is lying on his bed while getting his head patted by Veggie. Charlie and Momo is sat on the other side of the bed. Before any words could leave their mouth Deku vanishes in a spark of light. He looks around and realizes he's in Midnight's bedroom. He slowly turns around to see Midnight. Midnight. What the hell are you doing in here? I was summoning a demon. Deku. Doesn't work like that. A summoning circle was summons demonic or angelic creatures. Midnight. I'm sorry, I just can't find the right person and no one really wants me even though I'm only 30. Deku. There. Deku hugs her and pats her back. Deku. I could hook you up with a crazy cyclops who loves blowing stuff up. Midnight. Really? Deku. A little warning, she smell like cherries all the time and carries explosives. Deku pulls out the card and disappears for a second. He comes back with cherry bomb. Cherry bomb. What are you playing at, mate? I was just hanging out with. Her eyes lock with Midnight and she gets a slight blush. Deku. She's not as crazy as you were, angel dust, but apart from that you can might get along. Deku put both hands in his pockets and walks out of there. We cut to 2 weeks later. All the boys are in the changing room of the sport festival. Mike says over the intercoms. Present Mike. May 1st. Ahead towards the tunnel. Deku puts on his uniform jacket with a cutout for his wings. Shoto. Listen here Deku, out there we have nothing more than rivals, understand? Deku. I don't give a damn if you were God's right hand. I'm in charge of this class whether you like it or not, and I don't care if you see me as a threat to your number 1 spot. I'm only here to save lives, whether that be to kill villains or knock him out. I don't care. Deku lights out a huge sense of bloodlust that could be felt through the entire stadium and immediately stops his bloodlust before he ends up separating them all. Deku. Now everybody head to the tunnel. They walk out the door of the changing room and meet up with the girls. Momo. I'm guessing that bloodlust was you. Deku. Let's just say stuff to get in harder to control, especially around them. Before they exit the tunnel they can face to face with Inko. She looks at Deku with a smirk. Inko. You're coming home with us after sports festival. Deku. And what says I will, cause last time I checked I am considered dead and no longer in your care. Inko. That would be the case, but last time I checked there are no records saying she adopted you, and since she's been dead for who knows how long there's no record of her existing, so she can't. Deku. I don't have time for this shit, so come to me or any of my goals again and I will blush your head off. Deku pushes Inko out of the way and walks onto the field. Present mic. And now for the class that survived the villain attack. You a hero calls class 1. A1 walks out onto the field. The audience start cheering. Present Mike starts introducing all the other classes, but not as enthusiastically as he did with one, a starting noise all of them. But that's when Kendo walks up to Deku with a short girl with 2 horns and horse legs. Kendo. This is Pony, my pen pal. She can't speak Japanese properly. Pony. It's good to meet you. Deku. You can speak English if it's easier for you. Pony perks up at that. Decorum. Pony have full-blown conversations in English. Well, Kendo's barely picking up half of it. Present mic. Right now that all the classes are out into the field, we'll begin momentarily, and the announcer for the first year is R-rated Heroine Midnight. The whole crowd is cheering and all of the boys in the crowd are giving cat whistles. Present mic. Okay, calm down, and with me in the commentary booth is my hobo best friend Eraserhead and our principal of UA Nezu. Midnight explains how they will be doing it based on a lot of real and it's random. The wheel spins and lands on Robot Rampage. Aizawa eyes widen. Aizawa. I thought we got rid of that game after what happened last time when I was a student. Nezu. Well, I didn't remove it, I just slipped in the backlog since we haven't had any decent enough events. Midnight. I'll explain the game rules while they have their little argument. To put it simply, outside of the arena there are over 1,000 robots from the ancient exam, each one are worth the exact same points as the entrance exam. The top 50 who destroy the most robots with the most points moves on to the next round. All of the people in general education with mental-based quirks are panicking, but that's when a small truck drives onto the center, drove by Recovery Girl with filled with different kinds of weapons. Nezu. Since most of these students are from the general studies this year, we are allowing weapons from either inside or outside. You have 20 minutes to get ready and we'll begin. Everybody is walking around forming teams. Deku and Pony is sat next to each other and Charlie is about to ask Deku to team up and Deku shakes his head and she nods. Deku. Show Pony holding to do this the regular way or the America waist. Pony. So what do you mean America way? Deku pulls out who's out a 12-gauge shotgun with bug shots. Pony. So we going to walk this, or we can use something a bit more Americans. How about we go with to make bazookas since there's some American. Deku. You know what's more American than one bazooka? A bazooka tank. Everybody's confused, but Nezu overhears the entire conversation. Nezu. This rule is mainly for Izuku Carmen, no spawning any jets to carpet bomb the area. Everybody's confused, but then they all hear Deku scream. Deku. Oh come on, that's 90% of my tactics out the window, but I could still do maximum kaboom. Everybody goes quiet after the 20 minutes are up. Everybody is getting ready by different exits. Deku is stood in front of back of the line headed out of the main exit. Pony is confused by the back, but Deku just raises a finger as soon as the timer goes. Deku crosses his like for a few seconds and then snapped his fingers. That's when his shadow and AM50 the thing comes from his shadow. Everybody is confused and the free people that was staying behind goes absolutely gobsmacked that he just pulls out a tank. Pony and Deku hop in it and drive right through it. When they get outside they see a war zone between it, people and robots. We see Katsuki and Shoto in a little friendly banter destroying robots. Katsuki. I'm at 48. Shoto. 47. There's no way Deku can keep it up with us now. Everybody hears an engine roaring and flaws it out of one of the tunnels. Katsuki and Shoto. That's when they see a 6-barrel tank and they recognize it as an M50. Pony is on the small minigun in the top mowing down a bunch of robots while Deku is driving. That's when a huge rumbling is heard and Deku slowly turns the tank around to see 80 0-pointers. Present mic. Unlike in the entrance exam, these guys are worth 4 points. Over the next hour everybody is just managing to scrape by points as Deku and Pony are driving around the arena in the tank, shredding and blowing up all the robots that get in their path. That's when all the robots stop, but everyone sees this. Still 20 minutes left on the counter. Deku has a bad feeling, but that's when a huge part of the outside slowly opens all of the students, and that's when a giant mech almost twice the size of a 0-pointer. All of the students stop as the floor slowly lifts with the robot and it completely dwarfs all of them. Everybody slowly takes a step back and they hear a crazy laughter over the speakers. Nezu. Yes, the monarch, we currently only have 5 of these, but these things are made by yours truly to watch students panic like this. The audience goes quiet, but Deku pulls up right in front of it with a direct line of fire to its chest. Deku. Arvada key dodge this. He fires all 6 barrels at the exact same time. The entire field goes quiet and then a huge explosion rings out with his shockwave that knocks everybody over. That's when everybody comes to, but the Big Mac falls directly backwards with a huge hole the size of a semi-truck was blown through it. Nezu. How the fuck those things can survive a 100% punch from All Might? That's when the bell goes off, stopping everybody slowly gets up, and Shoto, Shoko, Katsuki and Izumi are completely pale at what they just saw. Decorum Pony hawks out of the tank and throws a whole lot to C4 on it, destroying it. Everybody walks back in the center and sees Deku and Pony with first and second. Hey, Peabody sees out of all of the first years only 50 is moving on to the next game. Midnight. Well, we take a 2-hour break before we continue cause that event was quite exhausting for those whose quirks that require stamina and food. Everybody splits up, some heading back to the changing room to get out the uniform for a bit and some heading to the cafeteria. Deku is chilling in the changing room polishing ebony and ivory. That's when a red portal appears behind him. He doesn't even look at the portal. Deku. What do you want, Blitzo? Blitzo goes flying right past Deku and dents one of the lockers. He turns his head to see a very annoyed Luna. Blitzo. I'm sorry, I just. Before a fight could break out between Luna and Blitzo, one world gunshot gets their attention. Deku. Explain. Blitzo. Well, remember when you did that job for me? Well, when you came back, Killjoy's favorite place to go got destroyed and she saw Luna and accused her of destroying her favorite place, so I paid her the equivalent of 1 billion USD by the end of the month, or she owns Luna's soul. What if I sell her off before then? She can't do anything. And I keep pay her back over time. Luna. Or I get engaged to somebody. Deku. So what did you want me for? Cause otherwise you would have stayed in hell. Blitzo. Well, I'm thinking about Luna. He wants me to be engaged to you. Deku. Shit, no offense Luna, you're going to have to sort it out with the other girls. Luna. Okay, I'll sort out with them and I'll explain the situation. She slips both hands into her pockets and walks off. Blitzo. I'm sorry if I was a pain, I just can't stand my girl being owned by that bitch Killjoy. Deku. You're lucky I'm in a good mood. Blitzo heads back through the portal and Deku walks to meet his class and walks to the rest of the class eating unsees Charlie and Luna talking. Deku walks up and sits down. Deku. So what you talking about? We cut 3 weeks ago. A man is finishing off a pro hero. He's covered in old rugs with a red cloth covering his face. He hears footsteps behind him and points his blade at the figure. The figure is surrounded by darkness. Hell Priest. You must be the hero killer Stain. Stain. No offense, unless you're a fake hero I don't bother with you. Hell Priest. Oh no, I'm here to help you. See, I have something that can summon something that will remove all the fakes from this world. The Hell Priest pulls out 20 golden cubes. Stain. How do these work? Hell Priest. Once you kill a fake hero, place it inside their stomach, but all 20 must be based around the city in order for it to work. Stain. And what will these summon? Hell Priest. An army that will purge all the fakes from this world, including future fake heroes. Present day Stain is stored under the one. A booth holding the last golden cube. Stain. I'm sorry, can you help? You back then kid put out do you a fever by taking down one of those bullies. Stain's flashback: he sat on the roof getting ready to take down another false hero, but then overhears something and takes a peek. Deku. You fuckers want to go round. Before he could finish, Shoko shoot a huge wave of ice at Deku. Some of these biked parts of it stab him in the shoulders and legs, pinning him to the wall. That's when Katsumi glaze at Deku and grab his neck. Katsumi. You think you can just humiliate us like that? You quirkless shit, we're going to make sure these last minutes of your life will be hell. Deku. Too bad, unlike you I bought a friend. They look at Deku with a confused expression, but that's when the sludge film crawls out of the sewer and uses the sewer lid and the wax Shoto on the head, cracking his skull and knocking him out. They all look at Deku and Deku grins. Well, blood starts leaking out of where he was stabbed with the ice. Thank you. Watches Bakugo twins and Shoko fight the sludge film for around an hour. Deku just grins the fact that they have the sludge villain completely encased in ice. That's when Shoto get up and glaze at Deku. He stabs Deku with more ice and walks off. Deku cough more blood and looks up at the sky. The ice starts to break as the sludge villain manages to break free. You then looks at Deku. Sludge villain. Your kid, you good? Yeah, what am I saying? Probably don't have long left. Deku. Don't beat yourself up about it. Hey, at least I didn't commit a sin before I died. Sludge villain. Seriously making jokes. Deku. Yeah. Stain shed a tear and swears to kill those kids one day before they could become pro heroes. Present day. Stain. Like I said, I'll get revenge. This works. We cut back to the main field where everybody is chatting, getting ready for the next game. That's when the wheel spin and lands on cavalry battle. Midnight. The rules are simple, getting teams from anywhere between 2 to 4 people and just keep your headband, and since Izuku Carmen came first place, his headband will be worth 10 million points. Got Mr. 10 million points, will have to do this solo. Thank you. Just looks around and sees everybody's terrier Tim. He doesn't even bother to him. Nezu. Izuku Carmen, for the sake of fairness you are not allowed to use any kind of guns of flight. For the sake of a fair competition we have one of recovery girls students who could bring someone back from the dead as long as it's with the hour and in a selected zone, and before you all ask, it is the current battle zone. That's why we needed a long break. That's when Menai laughter can be heard through the speakers. Random hero. This isn't in human rights. Nezu. I'm an animal with a quirk. I don't give a damn. We'll begin in 10 minutes to set up your teams, and it doesn't matter if there's a bloodbath. Over the next 10 minutes everybody is making their teams, but Deku walks up to Midnight and get past and hear peace. Aizawa. Nezu made the deal with the Lucifer song. No one would die in this zone for the battle, and he let you gun because he also wants to see your melee. Deku. Yeah, I knew the devil had. Well, can you do me a quick favor and start playing Rules of Nature over the speakers when it starts to begin? Aizawa. Present. Mike already had a playlist, but I can play your song. That's when the buzzer begins and everybody apart from the supernatural group are rushing at Deku equipped some metal armor. The suit is completely blocked with some red accents. We cut back to the one. A booth. Stain overhears to heroes. Random hero. So Slugger, which one are you playing? You win this time. Slugger. Well, I'm thinking about that Morningstar girl and maybe that Wolf girl. It might be able to get away with that Morningstar since according to her file she is an exchange student. Stain. You know what, kid, I guess I won't be able to get revenge for you yet because there's somebody else on my shit list. Stain walks up to the two heroes and slices their heads off. Yes, stabs Slugger directly in the chest and rips it open. He clenches the cube and wedges it directly into his stomach. That's when sparks start flying out of the body, making Stain surprised. That's when around the entire city 20 pillars of demonic energy shoot her, stopping everybody in their tracks. We cut to the field where 8 demonic portals have opened around the field. Aizawa accidentally hit play on the music and Deku pulls out a katana. That's when a huge demonic portal opens and an icon of sin steps out and Deku runs up. It's like well slicing and jumps directly in front of its face. Deku. Rules of Nature. He says in sync with the song. Deku starts slicing its face in rapid succession with his katana. Deku then charges up his attack and slices the icon of Sing's head clean off. Deku holds up his blade and slams it down the middle, chopping it completely in half. A huge amount of blood covering the entire inside of the US Stadium in blood and creating a small pool ankle deep of blood. Out of the portal to cyber demons appear, the height being double the size of All Might. One of the cyber demons slams its foot down, splashing everybody in blood. All of the heroes and civilians start screaming and panicking. Deku and Mirko run up to one each and kicks them in the back of their skull, slamming their heads together, making their head turn into mush. They both land and shake the blood off their leg. Mirko. You're not that bad, kid. Deku. You're not that bad either. A golden trident with an apple in the center goes flying past them and stabs into an imp's head. Charlie turns into her demon form and walks up to the imp and rips the spear out of its head. Charlie. What in my father's name is going on? Deku. Not quite sure, but I know it's an demonic invasion. Mirko. I'll call my parents and see if they can come and give us a hand. Luna. I will call my old man to see if he can get P to give us a hand. Deku. Hey Mirko. Mirko. Yeah, Deku. Tell your John we need the Triple Slayers back together. Mirko. Who the hell other Triple Slayers? Deku spreads his wings and flies to the top of the stadium and pulls out a 50 BMG. Deku shouts down. Deku. He will know what I'm talking about. Deku fires his 50 BMG, nailing a couple of demons directly in the head. That's when a van comes out of nowhere in the center of the arena. Blitzo, Moxie and Millie step out of the van and comes face to face with a couple of imps. They shoot them but nothing happens. That's when 4 loud gunshots I heard from right in front of them and the imps get completely obliterated. Deku. Momo, we need some silver weapons and ammo. Momo. Right away. Momo starts making silver weapons and silver bullets for everybody, providing cover fire. Then a blue portal appears next to them. Everybody's confused, but a girl wearing a polka dot jacket with a black crop top with the words lady on it. She's wearing tracky shorts and black stockings with red shoes. Her hair is blue and tied up into 2 small buns on the lower half and 2 black earrings. She has a small handbag on her left side. She looks towards Charlie. Marinette. Hey, I'm looking for an old friend of mine. Yay, hi. Broccoli green hair is way to bath for somebody who looks like a tea. Wait. Katsuki. Are you talking about Deku? Marinette pulls out a knife and points it directly to his neck. Marinette. I don't want to hear that name again or I won't hesitate to kill you, Katsuki Bakugo. Deku. Oh hey Marionette. Deku lands right in front of her and they both hug. Marinette. Good to see you again, but the wings are now. Deku. I'll explain later, so get into the chaos. Marinette. And Issei. Deku. Knowing him, he should be here any minute now. Marinette. Shall we? Deku tosses Marinette a 50 BMG. She grabs it and slides the hammer back, and Marinette points it at a few demons coming through one of the tunnels and fires the entire mat in their general direction, blowing them all up. Marinette. Explosive rounds. Hey. Deku. Regular bullets do hurt them, but it takes a 50 BMG round to be the equivalent of a pistol. Nezu. Nezu appears out of the scrap from the cyber demons. Nezu. Yes. Deku. Activate the UA defenses. Me and Marinette will clear out UA from demons. Nezu. Right away. He jumps up and dives back into the scrap and disappearing. That's when a summoning circle appears on the floor behind them. A pillow red and gold light appears out of the circle. The light disappears. A black-head nine-tailed fox boy walks out wearing a black and red kimono. He has a red gauntlet on his left arm with a green gem on the back of the palm and golden spikes on it. Issei. What's good, fuckers? Deku. Just a demonic invasion. They woke up to each other and give each other a high five, then a hug. Deku. Looks like I'm not the only one who's changed. Issei. Where is the long story, but I'll get into it later. Looks like we got the crew back together though. Deku hands Issei pump action 12 gauge with bug shot. Deku. You're ready. Deku pulls out ebony and ivory, gives them a quick twirl on his pinkies and then holds them in reverse grip. Deku. Let's dance. Issei. Let's rock this joint. Marinette. You ain't ready. They all say simultaneously. They walk out of the stadium and then alarms start to blare as the wall around UA triples in size and that's covered in metal. All the demons inside the UA campus start looking around in confusion. One of them gets the head blonde completely off and they're looking around in panic. The demons turn around to see Deku with ebony and ivory beer covers their face. Deku. Boo. Deku stats shooting them to pieces with Issei blowing them up with the shotgun. Marinette. Oh come on boys, you couldn't have left some for me. Deku slaps her on the back. Deku. Just snooze, you lose your vote, people should know that. A blue portal appears behind Deku and Kia immediately turns around and points his weapons towards it. A 6'5" buff Ahmed being the armor is dark green and covering some spots on his body. He has a shotgun in his hand and he rushes at him, but he pulls the trigger long it to bits. Deku puts down his weapons. Deku. Oh hey John, how you been? Deku says that as he peeks over his shoulder as a brown-head rabbit girl wearing similar armor walks out of the portal. Daisy. The usual ripping and tearing. Deku. Good, so is she coming with? The Doomslayer jolts his thumb at the portal as a white-hair elf girl wearing black pants, brown boots, a white robes and carrying a staff with a golden curve and the red gem in the center. Deku. Freren, how you been? Freren. Just traveling the country to head to a spot. Deku hugs her and pat her on the back. Marinette. And these are? Deku. Right, where's my manners? Probably lost him when I died. Everybody looks at him confused, but Deku pulls away from the hug. Deku. These are my kind of siblings, best friends, rampage buddies, Marinette and Issei. He gestures to them. Deku. This is John, also known as the Doomslayer, his wife Daisy, and just another slayer from a fantasy world setting, Freren. They all woke up to each other and starts shaking each other's hands. Deku. Now that pleasantries are out the way, here's the rundown. Somebody opened a 20 Stepney's trap on a citywide scale, summoning almost an infinite amount of demons, and the other way to destroy it is if we kill them all and survive for what was it, 4 months. Daisy. We destroy the carnage traps, but they're practically indestructible. Only a direct blast from the BFG 10,000 can even scratch them. Issei. Well fuck. Marinette. Looks like I'll be skipping school for a few months. Deku. Hold up, I might be able to destroy him. They all look at Deku. Deku. I mean, the puzzle can traps are way harder to destroy, like literally they're indestructible, but like Daisy said, these ones can be destroyed, so I was if I hit him with over 1 trillion different kinds of bullets. Everybody just looks at Deku in confusion and the Doomslayer shrugs his shoulders. Issei. Number of friends, not even the entire America spending budget. I'm just bullets alone has that much now. The even be enough gunpowder made yearly to support that. Deku. Let's just say I'm better than that. Deku spreads his wings and passes the Doomslayer back his shotgun. Deku. Playtime is over. Marinette. You got Atomic Phoenix. Deku snaps his fingers and a glow happens around Marinette. The globe dims down to reveal Marinette in a black top half bodysuit that covers her upper half and her private area. Her legs are covered with black stockings that are made of metal with old-fashioned black pointed night boots. She has 2 missile launchers on both of us shoulders. On top of the missile launchers on her left side is a cannon. On her left side she has a big plasma cannon and thrusters on her back. Her right side has a giant 30mm Gatling cannon with a chain of ammo going from the minigun to her back. She has a black face mask on and her eyes narrow. Marinette. It's had an upgrade or two. Her voice comes out distorted slightly with the mask. Deku. Like I said, playtime is over. That's when a muscular hand grabs Deku's shoulder and he turns around and comes face to face with Buff All Might and Inko. Inko. You are not going out into that war zone. You are coming home with us where it's safe. The best thing for you to do is run away from this fight. Deku grabs All Might's hand and crushes it. All Might stumbles back. Marinette ditch slaps All Might with the back of the minigun, sending him flying back. Deku. Run away. Who's running? Why would I run? Deku summons over 700 guns above you. They all lock onto a demon and completely open fire, obliterating them all into atoms. Deku shakes his wings, letting out a huge gust of air. Deku. Shall we go and commit mass carnage? Issei. Yes we shall. All of them stretch a little then jump over the gate. Deku. Marinette, Freren, get a vantage point and watch our back. Marinette. On it. Freren. As long as I can use a big gun. Deku hands Freren a Denel NTW-20. She notes and flies away with Marinette. Deku. John, Daisy, you take the left side. Me and Issei has the right. Daisy. We're on it. Doomslayer and Daisy head off to the left side of the city. Issei. So what happened to you exactly? Issei's voice is serious and leaves no room for excuses. Deku. I'll give you all my life story after we sort this shit out, but you also have to explain why you're a yokai. Issei. Sure, we'll go over what's happened to us all after. Deku and Issei casually walk like somebody walking on a beach during a hot day, not somebody in an apocalypse. Any demons that come towards them immediately get killed by the Dekus ripping them apart or Issei blowing them up with the shot. A few icons of Sin's tribal luck but gets completely annihilated by Deku. That's when a huge rift appears in the center. Everybody is confused, but then a huge flood of different kinds of demons appear. That's when a bunch of black tentacles come up the ground and to wrap around them and then crush them. The air around them gives off a static like an old TV. Issei immediately goes on edge, but Deku stops him from getting ready to attack. Deku. Alistair, is it just yours? The rest of the hotel here? Alistair. Oh no, the entire band of misfits is here. Deku. If hell wasn't on Earth already. Alistair. Well, I was told by Miss Charlie to give you a hand. Deku. Go on. The city, any survivors you see, bring them to UA. Alistair. Your wish is my command. As he says it out, his shadow involves him and he disappears. Deku. Before you ask, the radio demon somewhat of a big shot in hell. They continue to walk around slaughtering demons one by one. They hear a huge explosion in the distance with a huge ball of green energy ripping through everything. Deku and Issei, John and Daisy. The both snicker at that, but that's when a cyber demand appears right in front of them and lets out a Ra before getting both of its eye to remove by 2 bullets. They both look at each other in confusion. Deku. A little to the left you would have hit us, Marinette. Deku says in an earpiece. Issei. Is it just me or is this a bit boring? Deku. You know what, fuck it. Deku tunes into all of their frequencies so his voice echoes in all of their ears. Deku. Time to show why we're feared. Screw assignments, go nuts or you can kill Buffett. Everything goes quiet for exactly 10 seconds. A demon gulps and then chaos brews. Marinette flies directly into the air and start firing all of her weapons, not even counting for the friendlies. D-Drag. I don't know what or you can kill Buffett means, but let's do this, partner. Issei. Yep. D-Drag. 20x boost. Issei completely disappears out of sight and appears right behind an icon of Sin. He swings his fist straight down onto it, completely knocking its spine out of its ass, its skull being stuck in it. Deku. Guess is about time to let loose. Deku slowly floats up into the sky, miniguns flying around him. That's when bright blue streams of light shoot past him, annihilating a few demons. Deku rolls his eyes. Deku. Not bad. For an amateur. Freren flies right next to Deku and looks at him with a smirk. Freren. Oh yeah, you do better in one shot and not just going random bullshit. Go. Deku. Let's just hope they don't feel too scared after 90% of their forces get erased. Deku summons a NTW-20 without a scope and does a quick spin around with a magic circle appearing in front of his left eye. Everything goes quiet when you pause the trigger. Not even a cricket could be heard in the city. That's when the gunshot rings out, creating a huge boom sound. The bullet rips through an icon of Thing's head, then scatters everywhere, flying around at supersonic speed, ripping through all of the demons' heads, killing them all instantly. Everybody stops and looks at Deku. Deku spins the rifle on his finger and then cocks it back. Freren. What the fuck was that? Deku. No scope aimbot, so random bullshit. Freren. Random bullshit, or else we're not going to have any fun. That's when the portals erupt with hundreds of thousands of more demons. Deku activate, all the miniguns start to fire, completely decimating all of the demons, but not as fast as it would be if you used his. We cut to a meeting room inside of UA. We see all of the UA faculty and some pro heroes sat around a conference table with a few police officers. Nazu. I called you here during this time to talk about what's going on outside of UA. All Might. You mean the apocalypse that is happening outside? Nezu. No, it isn't an apocalypse, since an apocalypse means the end of the world and we have 6 beings who are dealing with them quite quick actually. Midnight. The way I see it, leave them do their own thing, since what they're doing is saving us the hassle of dying and then enough that one of the afterlives. Aizawa. She's right, all we got to do is leave it to Problem Child on his friends. Vlad King. I'm sorry, but I don't even know what the hell's going on. May some do you explain to me why we have free kids and free adults out there massacring? What do you say, demons, and why are you all so calm about knowing about I don't know, demons and supernatural? Cementos. Right, forgot you weren't here, you were sorting out your class. Long story short, the supernatural's real and we have a few of it in our school, demons, few angels, and yeah, you also have a junior class, but we'll sort that out later. And what else? Oh yeah, outside of the demonic impact lips, the same kind that kind of sent if you have our students too, in simple sense health. Now I would get into more detail, but well, we'll catch you up after this. Inko. And another thing, my son is. She feels something cold and metallic against the back of her neck. Cherry bomb. Go ahead, finish that sentence, slut, and ignite this bomb, blowing your head clean off. Inko. And who you? Cherry bomb. A close friend of Izuku's. If I hear you call him your son one more time, I'll make. She whispers the next part directly in her ear. Cherry bomb. Everybody knows what you've done to him, and I don't care if you're pro hero, they won't be able to cover it up. Inko goes completely quiet and they continue talking. We cut back to Deku, who has all the carnage traps close together. Deku. So I'm going to hit this thing with enough power to annihilate a small country. Deku closes his eyes and concentrate and summons hundreds of thousands of different kinds of weapons facing straight at all of the carnage traps. He fires them and the bullets just ricochet off, but he uses his wings to contain the fire. He continues to fire with everything he has. Deku closes his eyes and takes one big deep breath and then pulls out more weapons and continues to double the amount of weapons. Deku stumbles after almost reaching 1,000,000 weapons, but he stands firm, pushes the weapons to 5,000,000, and all of the boxes crack and then explode in a burst of power. Deku falls backwards, landing on his back, and looks up. Deku. I can taste my ass. They all look at each other and then burst out laughing. Issei. Well, we'll get back to UA then you can explain. Marinette throws Deku over her shoulder like a sack of potatoes. Deku. I'm gonna take him now, bring me to the dorms and just ask an angel with long hair and an X over one of her eyes, she'll give you the rundown. Before they could say anything, Deku passes out. Daisy. Okay, I have to admit that was badass, as not many people can destroy a carnage trap, and that was over 1,000,000 weapons. Issei. You know he's been making weapon and ammo through this entire situation as magic reserves are empty, which means you should be unconscious around a day or two. We see a little boy wearing a bright coat and his hood covering his face, lying down in a muddy puddle with a few kids around his age laughing for walking away. The kid rolls over to reveal a younger Izuku. Deku. What I say, I always get picked on. He slowly gets up, putting his hood back, but he hears some soft whimpering behind a rock, goes to check it out to see a blue head crying. Are you? Deku. Hello. The girls get scared and immediately turns to face Deku, her blue eyes meeting his green. She sees his eyes are full of care, so she lets down her guard. Marinette. Sorry, just some kids picking on me not having a ability. Deku notices her broken leg, but she tries to hide it. Deku grabs 2 sticks and looks around. She hands him her jacket. He rips off the sleeve and puts the sticks in it. You then put it around her leg. Deku. Izuku and you. Marinette. Marinette, isn't it usually tradition to give your last name? Deku. Kinda don't care about it. They hear a loud thud behind them, so they turn around to see what it is. They see a brown-haired boy around their age getting better by a bunch of girls. Deku and Marinette running front of the girls before they could hit him again. The girls look at them again, roll that eyes and scarf before walking away. Deku. Hey, you good? The boy gets up, shaking away the dirt out of his brown hair. Issei. Thanks for that save. I'm Issei. I am Japanese, but my dad's American, so I kind of picked that up from him. Deku. I'm Izuku and this is Marinette. Deku gestures to the girl next to him and Issei nods. Marinette. So why was those girls mad at you? Issei. 2 of my so-called friends picking on the girls, then when it was spotted they blamed it on me, told them, and I quote, we were just tagging along with our perfect friend. Deku. Then they're not really your friends, they just hang around you for you to take the blame. Issei. Well, now the only people that actually hang around with me since I'm quirkless. All three of them stop. Deku and Marinette. Me too. All three of them look at each other with disgust at first but then burst out laughing. Marinette. So we're friends. Issei. Stuff on me, I don't care. Deku. Getting to some mischief. Marinette. But couldn't get in trouble. Deku. Nobody cares what happens to us or because we don't have an ability, so the way I see it, life is our toy and we better live it like it's our last. Somebody who's in. They both shrug at him. They head out of the forest and head. Deku shakes his head and slowly gets out of his bed. He looks around to see he's in his dorm room. He removed his blanket and heads down the hall and sees everybody chatting. Deku. How long was I out? Carmilla. Closing into 3 days. We got worried at first but then your friend explained you just had a manner. Marinette hugs him and start crying. Marinette. If you were to told me as soon as you got back I would have murdered all of them for you, even as Ladybug. Everybody stops and her in amazement. Mina. Wait, you're the #1 hero of Paris, Ladybug. Marinette. Forgot you. Lockwood in the room, but I don't care. But listen, if this leaves this room I will have to get my friends to put you down. Everybody goes quiet and that but Deku and Issei soft chuckle. Deku. And I'm getting by her reaction. You all know my story. Issei. Like I promise I'll tell you why I'm a yokai. We see a slightly younger Issei inside of a jewelry store purchasing some golden rings. Jewelry store seller. So who's the lucky ladies? Hope they know about each other. Issei. Well, they're actually all my girlfriends, so technically they do know about each other. Jewelry store seller. Well, you're a lucky man. Let's just hope you don't mess it up like the other people that decide to come here and try their luck. Issei. Yeah, let's just hope I'm a lucky man. Issei walks out and heads back to the occult research club. He enters the building but notices something feels off. Issei. Did you just or something feel odd? D-Drag. I know what you mean, partner. It feels like it's a blessing given we should. Issei walks through the holes quietly and cautiously. You find nothing through the building but then ends up right in front of the president's room store. He's about to open it but overhear the girls talking. Rias. Is it just me or has Issei who came more of a pain in the ass? Akano. I mean, when he was a pervert was easy to manipulate him, just a wink, maybe a flash of a tit and a few well-placed words and command, but react to try harder and he's becoming more like a sensible person. Kaneko. I don't think we should be talking about him like that. He's done everything for us. He's even got you out of that arranged marriage. Rias. No duh, why do you think I reincarnated him? Show he could get me easy stuff because the more powerful one's servants are more powerful for you, or in all the houses of twice critical. Xenovia. Rias on this one. All the girls are agreeing on Issei's bone. Gets a message alerting everybody to the door. Its light opens slowly to reveal Issei. His face is one of anger and sadness. He then pulls out his phone and checks it. Deku's message. I'm not good with goodbyes, so I'm going to get straight to the point. Come on, Death Store. Probably got like a few minutes left, that much. Issei, we've known each other for years and I know you're kind of a pushover, so just stop that and be the badass you were meant to be. Marinette, I can't exactly help you with your miraculous situation, but you need to stop holding back. If anything, you only hurting yourself, so yeah, I'll see you fuckers. Issei starts to cry. Xenovia walks up to Issei and it's about to hug him but to get slapped by her. Rias. What do you think you're doing? Issei. What am I doing? I've died for you multiple times. You brought me back for no reason, turned me into a demon. Rias. Do you want to have to do this? But you leave me no choice. She snaps her fingers and her body lights off a red aura as his body stops moving. Issei. What did you do? Rias. Well, one thing that I forgot to mention about the pieces is that they also workers at controlling devices, you can see, but usually I'd let you all be free and have free will. It looks like I need to take a more direct approach. Review. Issei. Hey partner, time for a last stand. Everybody's confused but then his gauntlets glows right and stabbed himself directly in the heart, ripping out all 8 of the chest pieces and leaving 8 holes in his body. Issei spit out a bunch of blood and just wipes it away from his mouth. D-Drag. At first I didn't know why you made those protocols, but now I understand why. Issei. Well, you can thank Izuku for the ideas. Rias. I order you to stop what you're doing. Her voice is slightly shaky and panicked. Issei right his demonic wings and grabs him with both of these hands and rips them off. She's getting more and more panicked, but that's when he grabs his tail with his mouth and rips it completely off. Everybody is stood there pale and panicking, but that's when a dragon-like summoning circle appears being and teleports him away. 9 tails and blonde hair walking up to her house. She sees Issei unconscious and drowning in blood. D-Drag. Yasaka, no time to explain, can you help my friend? Yasaka. I'll do my best, but it looks like he ripped out his evil pieces, so the only way to save him would be turning into a yokai and linking your souls. D-Drag. Even if it means I have to sacrifice my own life, merge the boosted gear with his soul. Yasaka picks up Issei and quickly rushes him into her house. Issei. Quick thing, yeah, she's actually the leader of the yokais and my fiancé, yeah, that's how I became a yokai dragon hybrid. Deku. Okay John. The Doomslayer throws him the super shotgun. Deku catches it with one hand and reload it. Issei. Izuku. Deku. I'm going to say this in the nicest way I can. Doomslayer. No one fucks with my homies, and since you're Izuku's friend, you're my friend. Aizawa. Problem child, what are you going to do? Marinette. I'll get Atomic Phoenix. Deku. No you're not, this is the boys' problem. Marinette. Why not? Deku. Why not? 'Cause this is for the boys to deal with. Marinette. And yet if anyone breaks my heart, it's you to deal with it. Deku and the Doomslayer leaves the place before anyone could even stop him. Issei. Well, we have somebody else to deal with. Marinette. What do you mean by that? Issei looks towards the Yagis Katsuki and the Todoroki twins. Marinette. I see, I wonder if Satan wouldn't mind having you down there. Aizawa. How care will you do to them as long as they don't die, because it'll be a pain on my ass. Deku and the Doomslayer walks out of the front door of the dorms. Issei. Well, I feel bad for them. Marinette. Issei, could you get in contact with this so-called Chaos Brigade? Veggie. I've met you for less than a week and I already have a bad feeling about this. Issei. That the head of the demon faction will be the later today. Why? Marinette. What is going to be two people that go absolutely ballistic at anything basically demonic? Everybody there stops and connects the dots and goes completely pale. Charlie. You two are scary. Dark Shadow. I know, right? Marinette strikes me as the kind of person who looks after animals in her free time, not a. Issei. Well, she's actually a slightly psychotic carnage-loving clutches. Marinette. I have literally seen you throw a truck at somebody because they messed up your jacket. Everybody goes completely quiet at that. We cut to Deku and the Doomslayer standing outside of the door to the Occult Research Club office. Deku. I have a dumb idea. Doomslayer. I'll follow your lead. We cut inside to see all of the Occult Research Club except for Kaneko the old, chatting until a knock is heard on the door. They're all confused since they don't sense any presence behind the door. Rias. Who is it? That's when a bunch of bullets rip through the doors and walls, lighting up inside of the room. Everybody in there gets hit, and after 30 minutes of continuous fire, Deku is stood there with two Glock 19s held in reverse grip with the Doomslayer and his triple-barrel machine gun. Deku. God called. He ordered your asses to the afterlife. All of them start to regenerate slowly, then they all stand up. They see a big man in a big suit of green armor with a blue triple-barrel minigun and kid with long messy green hair that goes to just below his shoulders, wearing a black t-shirt, black pants with two folded wings on his back that I made of weapons. Rias. How AA are you? Deku. Homies of Issei and you decided to backstab it, so we've come to collect. Grimoire Peerage. Issei is still alive. Explosion is heard outside and then half of the wall get to ripped off. Deku looks to see a man with white hair wearing a black suit and white with crystal blue wings. Valley. I am Valley. And I heard there is a strong opponent. Oh, and before you wanted us, I have both the Chaos Brigade with me. As he says that, a bunch of portals appear as a bunch of demons and fallen angels step through, all holding different kinds of items. Deku. Glad you brought friends to the party. Advise this will have been over fast. The Doomslayer looks at the armies of fallen angels and demons, grabs his helmet with one hand and removes it. You then walked up to the remaining table in the room and places this on there. He turns back to the Grimoire Peerage and slightly smooth before pulling out his double-barrel shotgun and grappling right in front of one of the fallen angels. He grabs one by the wing and rips the wings off before stabbing the angel in the eyes with them. Valley. Well, it looks like he's having his fun. So shall we begin? Deku spreads his wings and flights straight towards him. Mid-charge, Deku cools up into a ball, then mid-air drop kicks Valley, sending him flying straight into the floor. The whole Chaos Brigade looks at Deku and panics, but before they could leave, Deku pulls out two one-handed tomahawks and rushes after them. He swings one of his tomahawks and it stabs directly into one of their shoulders. He rips off the arm while pulling, gets out and slices another one's head off. That's when a few hundred of the Chaos Brigade immediately draws swords and surrounds Deku and the Doomslayer. Chaos Brigade Soldier 1. We have you surrounded. We all have secret gears. Deku. Hey John, do you know what bullshit these guys are talking about? The Doomslayer just shrugs and hands Deku a handle of a sword with the guards facing upwards. Well, the Doomslayer pulls out a stick. The Doom player hits the stick on the ground as a head of a hammer appears on it made of red energy. Deku holds the hill of the sword to his right and shakes it forward. 65-inch blade made of pure red energy appears with some kind of writing inscribed in it. Deku. Hey John. Rip and tear. Until it is done. Deku spreads his wings and bolts set straight towards the guy who taught before he could say anything. Deku swings the crucial, chopping 10 of them in half. Everything goes quiet when the head of the guy who talked hit the ground. Olds start rushing towards them. Mages in that start firing in the back trying to hit them, but Deku and the Doomslayer are ripping them apart with their hands and weapons. A spell is about to hit Deku, but then a shield goes flying past with chainsaw blades spinning. Deku grabs the shield out of midair, spins in the same spot really fast and then launches it. It bounces and slices through hundreds. That's when the crucible cuts off. They all stuff and look at it. Deku throws the crucible back at the Doomslayer. Before they could say anything, Deku just starts smiling while his eyes narrow intensely. A guy who must have balls the size of Godzilla rushes at Deku and it swings his sword. Deku grabs the sword with his bare hand and snaps it. He then rams the snapped part straight into the guys. Everybody is stood there gobsmacked. That's when one of the majors started doing an incantation while holding a bow. Energy starts to swirl around the bow as a black hole forms on the end of the arrow and gets launched towards Deku. Deku dodges it as it rips through the ones standing behind Deku. Deku. They say God rested on the seventh day. You know what he really did? He created hell. Deku rushes at them and rams his fist right through the mage's mouth and rips his Jorah before grabbing his jaw and stabbing him in the eye with it. He immediately jumps into the air and pulls out the Gallet Avenger machine gun, points it down at them and start firing. Before they could do anything, the bullet ripped through them, turning them into red and black mists with feathers. That's when Deku hears Albion. Divide. Valley slowly stands at his injuries regenerating. He has a slight manic smile, but that's when he sees the carnage around him and his eyes slowly widen before walking on decades. Valley. What are you? Deku. Izuku. The Angel of Death. Valley grabs a sword from the floor and rushes at Deku. Deku looks around in confusion for a second but then ratchets at him, forming a chainsaw and blocks the sword. Albion. WHO brings a chainsaw to a sword fight. Deku grins before pulling out a 12-gauge and one-handed gangster fires right at Valley. He manages to block with his wings but still gets knocked back from the kick. Albion. I have one question. Deku. Which is? Albion. Is the red dragon dead? Deku. Issei is steel kicking. Before anything else could be said, that you froze down both of his weapons, pulls up his fists and start going haymaker on him. Deku punches him in the face, then grabs his hair and slams it down on his knee. Deku kicks his right leg from under him, making him fall backwards. Then Deku jumps straight up before doing a barrel roll, then a full-blown dive bomb drop kick, putting him in a crater 8 feet deep. Deku then stands and it turns around to see all of the Chaos Brigade dead. Deku. Get out of here before I change my mind. Valley immediately flies out of there and Deku turns back to the Grimoire Peerage. He slowly walks towards them and pulls out a revolver and pulls the trigger and blowing all the heads off with whole wheat bullet. Deku sees a man with red hair wearing a official looking outfit. Sears. Who are you and why did you just kill my sister and her friends? Deku. Just came revenge for an old friend of mine. Sears. Sorry but I can't let this side. You're going to. A gun shop could be heard as Deku sees the Doomslayer holding his double-barrel shotgun. Deku. I had it under control. The Doomslayer just shrugs before they head back to the dorms and sees everybody chatting and playing games. Daisy. So how did it go? Deku. Well, the dead, so there's that. Luna walks up to Deku, wraps her arms around his neck and kisses him passionately. After a minute Luna pulls away. Deku is stood there with a blank expression. Veggie walks up to Deku, gives him a light smack on the cheek. Deku shakes his head then blinks a few times, his face slightly blushing. Deku. So what just happened? Luna. Why are you looking at your first fiancé? Deku. What? Veggie. Well, dumbass. We're saying we agree to her being with us. Momo and Charlie. Yep. Charlie. But if you are going to add any more girls into this harem, since me and Veggie were the first, we have to agree on who's coming in it. Veggie. And there's no exceptions. Deku nods. Then Nezu enter the building, yorks around and sees all of Hell's occupants in Class 1. Nezu. Right, since you're all here I can get straight to the point. We are covering it up. But we're going to allow the other students in the other hero course to know about the supernatural. Deku. So how are we going to do it? Just walk in there, explain it. Nezu. Well, I'm sorting out a group exercise for 1A and 1B. Deku. That could work, but I'm going to need a list of everything about them, including their habits, to find out if there's any supernatural in 1B. Nezu pulls out 25 files and hands them to Deku. He walks to the couch in the room and places the files on the table. He starts skimming through them, going over everything while muttering. Deku. May. What's up? Deku. Our internships will be taking place in America. May. Okie dokie. We have a place to stay. Deku. I'll see if I can get in contact with V. All Might. We've never taken you to America, so how could you have any friends there? He says while buffing up and looking at Deku annoyed. Ryoko. Hold on, V as in she is Hasashi's chum. Nezu. And why did she live in America? Deku. OV, she lives in Night City. Carmilla. Hold on, you know somebody from Night City. Hey, do you mind if we come with you since I wanna see how much my home city has changed? Everybody stops and looks at the Carmen family. Kendo. You mean Night City, the place with the highest crime rate in the world and has one of the highest death counts in the world daily. Iida. I don't think you should be going there for your student internship. He says while doing his usual arm-chopping motion. Deku. No offense, I spent an entire year in South Park. Everybody but the people from hell look at Deku and go completely pale and Nezu eyes widened. Marinette. Oh yeah, I forgot that's where we met Satan. Issei. How is the fucker? Deku. Haven't seen him yet. But I'm thinking we all go back to South Park for the holidays. Marinette and Issei. Show way down. Marinette. Right, I need to get going back to Paris because it's school. See you in a bit, deep shits. She then uses the miraculous of the horse to open a portal and teleports out of there. Issei. Gotta get back to my fiancé and daughter. Is about to walk out but Deku grabs his shoulder and he looks at him with slight fear when Deku puts on his innocent smile. Deku. Oh no you don't. Issei starts shaking in fear when Deku speaks. His voice is calm but with a huge hint of authority behind it. Deku. I want to meet this fiancé of yours. Don't even think about trying to escape. Issei. Haha, I'm in danger. Issei sends his girlfriend a message. 20 minutes later a summoning circle appears on the floor in the room. The room lights up and then a blonde-haired woman with 9 foxtails with white tips, her ears twitch as she sees Deku staring down. Yasaka. May I know why there's an angry broccoli staring down my fiancé? Deku turns around and looks at Yasaka there, not walks towards her. He looks her up and down for a few seconds before giving a simple nod and turning back to Issei. Deku. Seriously, you won't a MILF? Iida. That is very disrespectful. Yasaka starts chuckling and everybody looks at her. Yasaka. Sorry, it's just. You have no respect for royalty. Deku and Issei look at each other and the first out laughing. Deku. God damn, that's a good one. No, we have no respect for royalty or anything like that. Issei. We've watched enough anime to know if you want some due to respect you have to earn it. After another minute of I'm laughing they sought themselves out. Deku. Sorry if it was childish, we've just watched enough anime where the MC gets betrayed or outcast by royalty even after they respected them. Yasaka. Oh no, I'm not mad. It's actually relaxing knowing there are some people who don't care about status. Jiro. An evening if you did, he outranks you. Everybody stops and looks at her while turning their head to the side in confusion. Jiro. He's dating the princess of hell. Yasaka. Oh, so he's dating one of. Issei. No, he isn't dating anyone related to the redhead bitch. Yasaka. Then what do you mean? Charlie. I'm Charlie Morningstar, princess of hell, granddaughter of God and daughter of the archangel Lucifer Morningstar. Charlie says in her usual happy-go-lucky tone. Yasaka's eyes go white and pale. Yasaka. I'm sorry, but isn't God dead? Deku. God's a scapegoat is. Yasaka. I'm sorry, you're gonna have to explain because last I checked the creator God died. Deku. Start off, he's not dead, I met him last month. And God made reality, he made all the other gods, but since he didn't want all the responsibility he made a semi-god. He put that god in charge of its own version of heaven where angels are made, not dead people, but you call the underworld as an offspring of hell, where the original heaven and hell, a place where if humans die they go. So yeah, that's technically the deal. Deku looks to see everybody with slack jaws and white eyes. He looks around in confusion. Deku. What? Aizawa. I'm about to put this in the nicest way possible, problem child. What the actual fuck, you just whip that out like it's casual conversation, not talking about the creation of the universal or whatnot. Issei. I almost forgot, like zero situation awareness. I mean, he doesn't get when it's the appropriate time to tell about something and when he should keep his mouth shut. Luna. Well, I guess we got to get used to that since I'm going to be married to him soon. Issei. I'm sorry. What? Deku. Complicated, but we need to get married within them month or two. All boys in the room feel an overwhelming present and that they turn to see all the girls vibrating with a grain. Deku. I believe I have made a mistake. All of the girls grab Luna and Yasaka and drag them out of the room. All the boys are stood there completely confused. Deku and Issei. Haha, we're in danger. Kirishima. From a man with 2 mums. I have this feeling they might be planning a double wedding. Everybody stops and that looks at Kirishima and shrugs. Tokiyami. I think he is correct. Dark Shadow. If I wasn't stuck to this bird brain I would be rushing over there and helping them. Deku. Well, it's getting late, so everybody just hit the hay. Everybody starts nodding, but then Deku notices something. Deku. Why, where's the rat? Everybody looks around, but then he is Nezu's laugh from the direction that the girls went. Issei pulls out his phone and plays coffin dance. Deku points at Issei. Deku. Exactly. Issei reaches into his bag and pulls out 4 black boxes. He tosses the 2 Deku and Deku catches them. He opens them to see 4 My Little Pony themed diamond rings. Deku looks up at Issei and raises eyebrow. Issei. What they were for the bitch's butt. They would have been collecting dust. Deku. I mean the theme. Issei. Marinette's idea. She was the only girl that wasn't disgusted by my pervertedness. Daisy and Mirko walk back in. Deku notices the inside of Mirko are red and her ears are slightly lowered. He raises an eyebrow at this. Daisy walks up to the Doomslayer and whispers something so quiet that only Mirko hears, and she slightly blushes before walking up to Deku and wraps her arms around his waist before picking him up and kissing him passionately while her right foot is thumping the ground like a happy rabbit. All the boys are stood there completely surprised. Katsuki. How the actual fuck is Deku getting this May bitch? Aizawa. Simple, he's got Hisashi's women luck. Present Mike. I know, right? They looking at a miniature more proactive version of him, only difference is he's not settling on one. All Might let out a low growl before 2 barrels is felt on his neck. He immediately shuts up as Daisy puts down the double-barrel shotgun. Deku finally manages to break out of the kiss. He's breathing heavy and is almost choking on air returning to his lungs. Mirko put Deku down as the Doom Slayer walks up to him and taps him on the back as Daisy raffles his hair. Deku. Okay, what's going on? Daisy. Isn't it obvious? Welcome to the Slayer family. Deku. Ha, Daisy. I talked to Charlie and Veggie and they agreed on letting Rumi to join your harem. And she's getting to the age where she becomes a little more proactive in April. Daisy says with a smirk, and Deku would just gulps. That's when a black box hits his head and he grabs it. You see Issei with a thumbs up and Deku just face palms. Doomslayer. Oh, and don't worry, she's got immortality, meaning she won't be aging when she hits her 30s. Deku walks out of the dorm building and that look up at the night sky. He takes in a huge deep breath. Deku. Are you fucking kidding me? Deku screams out his lungs for a solid minute and walks in like he didn't just scream like a banshee. Denki. You got that out of your system. Deku. Yeah, for now. Ida. What was that about? Deku. I'm going to bed. Deku say it's about getting up and walking out of the room and heading to his opens the door and plot down on the bed. We cut back to the living room. Daisy. I mean, we've all that's happened in the past 3 days. He does need a break. Aizawa. Right. Aizawa. What do you want? Daisy. What is this internship? What is it about? Aizawa. To put it simply, they are just intern and hero or a hero-based company for experience. Daisy. Book Izuku to intern under us. He needs some time away from this world. Aizawa. Usually I'd leave it up to him like the rest of the students, but since dying his personality has changed and his mental state is a little bit more unstable, so I suggest he does take a break with the 2 of you. We cut to the next day. Deku wakes up holding his head. He looked around. You see he's in his bed with none of his girlfriends. He walks to the door and opens it. When he does, a huge gust of wind pushes against him as his eyes. He moved his something off and looks at his back and he doesn't see his wings. He looks around as purple flames ignite on torches 3 meters from each other, lightened as the entire hallway. This is purple carpets going right the way down with a purple wolf's face on it that looks around in confusion but then walks down the hall. He walks around 20 minutes before the hallway opens up. Deku walked to the opening, an old-fashioned stone of bridge and a huge old-fashioned temple calf into a mountain. He looks to the left of the bridge and see the huge cousin with black fog around the bottom. Deku crosses the bridge and stands in front of a huge double set of doors that's bigger than Mount Lady. Deku puts his hand on the door. Is a pattern of a wolf with some kind of smoke coming off it, howling at a moon with those slowly open to reveal a old temple based on a wolf. And Deku continues to walk and he sees huge stone wolf statues twice the size of All Might. Deku. Why does this place feels like I belong here? Deku takes one more step as black flames ignite in all of the wolves' mouths, lighting up the place. He sees 7 giant wolf statues. The only difference is they all have different kind of necklaces, but the one in the center almost looks female with a golden necklace that resembles a neck guard with a crescent moon and golden armor. Deku walks straight to the center of the wolves and sees he's in the center of a circle. He sees symbols being written around the edge of the circle in our language he's never seen before. He kneels down and brushes away some dust. He runs his fingers across each letter. Deku. Arise. Deku immediately stands as his shadow starts to extend into a circle around him. Before he could say anything, his shadow shoots spikes at each of this statue as all of the statue's eyes glow. I see you have finally made it. Deku sees the one with the armor say, well, its eyes glow brighter. Deku. Who are you, and where am I? Ashborn. You can call me Ashborn. And where are you? You're in the temple of the Shadow Wolves. Deku notices that the voice sounds very feminine, but then he is a strong muscular voice. From his left he turns to see the wolf statue with one ear and a scar over its right eye. Its eyes glow slightly bright. Void. I'm Void. Your name is Izuku, am I correct? Deku. But how do you know who I am? Ashborn. Quite simple, my young one, you are looking at the 7 original Shadowborn. Our pack has been around for eons. Deku. Hold on, but the world isn't that old, so how the... Deku hears a different feminine voice that sounds almost seductive. Catering. I'm Caterling. See, we exist in between the time and space itself. And to answer your question, God might have been one of the first creations, but he isn't the original. Since the multiverse exists, creation begins way before it begins. Deku. How did you? He hears a old wise voice to the left of the armored statue. Bobby. I'm Bobby. Catering, I know you have more knowledge than all of us, but sometimes it gets annoying. She can read your shadow. Deku. Okay, can I just have all your names before I lose it? All of the statues chuckle. Ashborn. We shall go from the left to right. We have Alex. Deku looks at the first statue to his left to see a wolf with a sword on its back. It speaks up, its voice sounding childish but also like a hardened warrior. Alex. Yup. To my right is Carnage. Deku looks at Carnage and sees his causeway longer with darkened spots around his mouth with resembling blood from a creature that been ripped apart by its teeth. He speaks up, his voice sounding very joyful and energetic. Carnage. And to my right is Bobby. And to his right is Ashborn. Ashborn. To my right is Riley. Just call me Riley. The voice that sounds very neutral with no emotions but mainly male. Void. You know who I am. And finally to my right is Mex. Mex lights out an annoyed sigh before speaking. Her voice demands authority and is very feminine but also sounds like multiple people speaking at once. Mex. Let's get straight to the point. Deku. Yeah, I agree, since I don't know what the hell's going on. And how you know who I am? Ashborn. Quite simple, my pup, you are a last descendant. Deku. I'm sorry, what I would know if my bloodline had any huge ass wolves in it. All of the statues chuckle. Ashborn. Not exactly. I feel we don't have much time this session, so I will unlock your bloodline. All you got to do is say the command phrase. Deku looks confused before remembering what he said in the first place. He takes a deep breath before saying in a commanding voice as his eyes shine dark purple. Deku. Arise. Deku's shadow wraps around him. He opens his eyes while in the void created by his shadow he looks around in confusion. Ashborn. Your new abilities might be a bit hard to control. So we'll be giving you a system to give you a hand start. Deku sits up, his head shaking and stretching. He looks around and notices he's in his room to see everything is the same except his girlfriend's. He slowly stands as in heads to the bathroom. He looks in the mirror after washing his face and sees 2 black wolf ears with purple inside. He has a black tail that swishes from left to right, his lap the ground cracking it instantly. Deku raises an eyebrow. Deku. Okay, so that definitely wasn't a dream. Deku closes his eyes and takes a deep breath before 4 system windows appear in front of him. System window 1. Welcome new player. System window 2. Beginning quest, get stronger. 0 100s push-ups, 0 100s setups, 0 100s squats, 0 tenths kilometer ran. Rewards 2 stat points, random loot box. System window 3. You have 2 rewards to claim. Deku. Claim rewards. System. Reward 1 wolf features, you have gained shadow wolf ears and shadow wolf tail. Reward 2 shadow claws, your shadow will now form closed on your hands and feet for mobility and attack. Deku. Hold up, I got a crazy idea. Yoji, I have a idea I want to talk to you about. A blue portal appears behind Deku and he steps through to step into an office. He sees God sat at his desk going through paperwork. Deku grabs a chair and sits down in front of him. God, will it help me sort out this? Deku. It will give you some entertainment. God. Well, got nothing better to do, what your idea? Deku. Gates. God makes direct eye contact before raising an eyebrow. Deku. Portals to an alternate dimension, a lot like a fantasy world, but if we don't close the gate within a week it will break out any monsters that's in there and they will attack any humans they see. God. Yeah, I've seen a similar thing to that in a universe called solo leveling. Yeah, I think it will work here. But I'll make it so everybody knows the baseline of the gate. Besides, it might be more entertaining than what currently going on. God raises hand and snaps his fingers. God. I was thinking about doing it earlier but never had a good reason to. Well, see you. Deku. What do you know about the Shadowborn? God coast completely quiet and sees Deku's ears twitch and his tail swooshing. God. I can't exactly explain since I don't know much about them. Deku. Okay, well, see you around. Deku walks back through the portal. God leans back in his chair while looking at the sky. God. Why here? We see Deku stepping back into the bathroom and quickly washes up. He exits the bathroom and heads to the main room and sees everybody this Saturday chatting. Ida, you are finally up. Jiro, is it just me or do you have wolf ears and a tail? Everybody stops what they're doing and looks at Deku. Deku, yes I do. Veggie, and what's this thing about the gate? Deku, why you're looking at me? Charlie, never mind. Deku, anyway we need to head to the stadium for our joint exercise. We see all of 1A and 1B chatting in the arena of Ua. That's when a blue portal appears in the center. Deku, oh look a gate. Monoma, how about we have a little challenge? Deku already is walking through the gate, his class not far behind him. 1B rushes in as the gate turns red. Deku races in, eyebrow has everything turns scorching fire, looking like a city straight out of hell. Deku, damn, never thought the first gate would be a red gate. Oh well, recon team get to high ground and scan the area. Jiro, on it boss. Statue watches as all 1A's scout base quirk users head to the closest building and set up small defenses. 1B is stood there in surprise. Deku, Momo winning gas masks for everybody. Momo hands out gas masks while Deku spreads his wings as his shadow forms claws around his hands. Deku, combat base quirks stay in the backlines, support and others in the middle. Charlie, you would mean the front. Izumi, and who put you in charge? Deku, because I am in charge. Unlike you lot, I don't get scared under pressure. Scout teams, what's the situation like? Jiro, the creatures look like the same from last week. Deku, right, we're dealing with demon-based monsters. Okay Katsumi, head to the lookout group and keep them safe. That's when it aloud demonic roar is heard from the other side of the city. Deku and Charlie raises an eyebrow as the rest of the classes start shaking in fear. That's when Deku sees a giant tentacle-like thing slam the ground, crushing a few skyscrapers with it. Deku, looks like we found the boss. Monoma, how can you keep calm? That thing just crushed a building. Deku, you would never panic. Or you could die. Especially now that the gates are here. Right Momo. Charlie, take a few R class and whoever wants to go with you from 1B and start gaining resources. I'll keep an eye on the boss, just give me the signal when we're ready to attack. Time flows differently here, so don't worry about being gone in the real world for too long. Charlie, you had the boss. Anyone who wants to get some of the crystals and materials from this dungeon, come with. Deku spread his wings. I see, get on all four and starts running for a little bit to build up speed, then he leaps, his wings giving him a boost as like a rocket flying to where he saw the giant monster you've top him, keeping his eyes on it 24/7. Deku begins to do his daily quests while keeping an eye on the creature. Attack you continues to keep his eyes on the creature for the next 3 days until a loud explosion shoots straight up in the sky with a smiley face firework. Deku summons a heavy assault rifle and starts lighting up the creature before it could know what's happening. The bullets pass for its body and ripping through its eyes, killing it. Definitely looks down at it for a few seconds before flying back to everybody. Deku sees a few crates full of crystals and metals. Deku, so how did it go? Momo, well, we mainly stick to stealth tactics and we nice to clear out everything within a few days. Deku, good enough. They all exit to see most of the UA faculty stood there looking at them all surprised. Aizawa, that was a high B rank to low A rank. Nezu, show me, I know how it went. Deku hands Nezu a small handful of body cams. Nezu looks at them before giving Deku appreciated nod. Pony, okay, how will you launch? Able to almost communicate without talking or anything like that, just a few words back and forth and you got the situation. Deku, simple. This morning before we came to meet you I holded a meeting for strategies based on what kinds of gates and I strategies, and as you saw the 2R strategy for a red gate I had to the boss and keep an eye on it, making sure nobody disturbs it or it doesn't go on a rampage. Well, Charlie leads a team to gather all of the crystals and other stuff, and Jiro is the head of our recon team, feeding information based on surroundings to us, meaning not only do we have 0 blind spots altogether, we also cover every inch of the place before the gate even decides to break. All the bosses killed, shutting the gate in the matter of an hour. Nezu, that is a good strategy. Cover your long grains, short range supplies and all sorts while at the same time completing the dungeon. Well, starting tomorrow we'll be having a date strategy class where you'll be making your own strategies based on dungeons, and at the end of the week you'll be heading into a dungeon with your class to try out your strategies. Deku, right, May, I need you to take some of the materials and start working on weapons for all of us except for me and Charlie since we've got our weapons. Deku watches as May fills up 2 bags full of materials before walking back to the dorm. Aizawa, hero names are tomorrow. Think about it carefully because they might be your permanent ones. The rest of the day to do whatever. Since you were in there for 4 days. Class 1A, Class 1B, thanks. That's when everybody just starts chatting and doing other things while Deku is leaning against the wall polishing his wing. That's when a girl with green vines for hair walks up to Deku and Charlie. Deku. Abara, right. Abara. Yes, I am. Deku. Around 2 weeks ago your quirk awakening making it so now you can suck the nutrients out of things with your vines, but it also comes with the downside of you requiring to eat raw meat. Abara. How did you know? Deku. There's a few people in your class who's soldering your situation. That's when all of 1A and 1B standing around each other, but Deku sees his former bullies off to one side. Deku. Right before we begin, there's a few things I need to get straight without off. The supernatural is real, every folk myth law, all of it is real up to 2010, everything after that is all bullshit. Monoma. How would you know about all this? Deku. Well, you currently have 4 classmates who are involved with the supernatural. Since no one's talking, I suggest I'm going to continue. Abara, you woke up 2 weeks ago after your body was mangled to pieces with dark flowers growing on your vines with an hunger for meat. After that day your body hasn't been able to consume vegetables properly unless they were covered in some sort of meat-based product. Charlie. Making her. Deku. By the looks of it a cannibal, but for some reason her soul never went down or up for killing, which must have been because of a quirk or somebody from the gluten circle of health. Sen, 1 month ago you were able to sense a somewhat of an aura around people showing you whatever they had good intentions or bad, with the somewhat of the downside of your anger being more tuned up to people with Dako auras. Turns out one of your parents is from the wrath section of hell, meaning your house blood demon, just like Kendo. Pony, your mum is a minotaur and your dad was a human with a horn-based quirk, and I'm not talking like a quirk was a minotaur-based, she was a literal minotaur, and that's why you have the side effect of having horse legs. Yui. Mum was a foreign angel, I know that, making me half angel, but I don't have the wings, but I do have the somewhat of a light manipulation, but I can't control it well, so I never really use it. Jiro. Journey USJ attack, I sort of died and woke up as a somewhat of an archangel, not quite sure, but I do have an angelic weapon I can pull out of practically nowhere. Jiro says, well, flapping her wings. Monoma. So what does that make you lot? Deku. Like I said before, Kendo is a half-demon, but she's a succubus from the lust presect of hell. My girlfriend Momo is a turntail hound after she opened a carnage trap. Before you ask, it's kind of like what happened the other week with the 20 pills. Vaggie. Sorry I'm late, I heard about the gate incident and like was allowed out class. Everybody looks towards a Vaggie with her wings folded up on her back with her spear in between. Monoma. Seriously, you're hanging around these 1A losers, why not hang around with the superior class? Vaggie casually flips off Monoma before kissing Deku passionately and then pulling away. Pony. Isn't Momo Izuku girlfriend? Katsuki. The fucker has a harem. Everybody looks towards Katsuki, who is flipping everybody off before they look back at Deku with a priced expression. Deku. As I was saying, Vaggie is an angel who ended up in hell after an incident, she isn't fallen. Monoma. That would make Charlie an angel as well. You stop hanging around with some devils and join the superior class. Deku. Charlie, go ahead and introduce yourself, and no singing. Charlie. Okay, hi Charlie Morningstar, daughter of Lucifer Morningstar, princess of hell and half demons have archangel. Abara. Making you the Antichrist. Deku. Actually no, the Antichrist actually took a few forms back in the 2000s, one of them actually being the best comedian in all of history, Jim Carrey, and it was a few other before him, but he's one that mainly made an impact on the world by being an absolute comedian and best actor of all time. Pony. Hold on, the same guy who plays Pet Detective. And the Cable Man. Deku. Yep, right, that last is actually myself, who is the angel of death hand-picked by God himself after making some friends that even he doesn't want to mess with. Sen. Are you like death? Deku. Not exactly, see, I am like death, but difference between me and death is like night and day. Death kills who he sent to, I kill who I want to, and unlike most angels that could fall after committing a certain amount of painless acts without being approved by the big G himself, I can't fall no matter what. In simple terms, I have immunity to become a fallen angel. Sen. And the ears and tail, I'm guessing your quirk before becoming the angel of death. Deku. Probably it was that easy, but it turns out I'm connected to a whole bigger thing that not even I know of yet, so I will have to get back to you on that one. Yui. So what was that deal with the 5 other people I see you hanging out with? Deku. If you talking about the gas wolf girl, that's Luna, a hellhound. If you're talking about the white-head elf girl, that is Freyrin, one of somebody I know who's not technically a friend, more of a work equation and like a somewhat of an older sister, and she's from another world that is still in its medievals like magic stages. And if you're talking about the blue-head girl, that is Marinette, preparing to run a bakery in Paris, she's an alpha werewolf. And the brown-hair fox boy, that Issei, in the same boat as Marinette, being a childhood friend who is now also a kitsune. Yui. The brown-haired rabbit girl and the big dude in a suit of armor. Vaggie. Doomslayer and Daisy Mirko parents and now is Izuku's future parents-in-law. Monoma. Okay, how big is this guy's harem? Charlie. Well, there's me Vaggie. Momo. There's also me and Mirko. Vaggie. And Luna. And that's it. Sen. So he has a harem of 5. No way you can keep all of you satisfied, right? Deku. I got more stamina than Charlie and that's saying something. Monoma. So hold on, is she here to enslave us because I kind of got lost? Vaggie. Please, Charlie, enslaving people, she would try to enslave a marshmallow and then immediately release it because she'll feel bad for it. Deku. Actually she has tried. Charlie. Please don't. Everybody looks at Deku while raising an eyebrow. Deku trying to hold back his laughter. Deku. She tried to enslave a marshmallow. That's marshmallow broken control. Everybody stops as Deku starts rolling on the floor laughing with Vaggie not far behind Deku. Everybody watches as Charlie starts to pout. After a few minutes Deku finally snaps out of it and grabs some Charlie by her puffed cheeks and kisses her, making her almost fall apart like wet play-doh. After a few seconds that could pulls away with Charlie having a dinky looking expression. Thank you, then pat her on the head. Her expression still the same but her angry face is gone. That's when Deku's wolf ears twitch before he immediately makes a right shield appears as he puts it in the air as an axe cake from a white blur hits the shield, cracking it before Deku grabs the foot of the attacker and slams her into the ground. Deku. Oh hey bunny. Mirko. My old man wanted me to tell you you're interning with me because you're under too much stress. Deku. You couldn't send a text. Mirko. And you haven't brought me into your bed yet, so. Monoma. Okay, how many fucking girls in your harem have you slept with? Deku. Luna waiting until we're married so she could have the whole night to herself. Mirko. And I will be having him during the internship so I might decide to have fun with him then. Vaggie. Me, Charlie and Momo, I've already had the turn within. Deku. So free out of the 5. Everybody is stood there surprised. That's when Deku feels something wrap around the back of his neck. He turns around and then get pulled straight into a kiss with no mercy by Yui decorators both of his hands for a few minutes before his arms fall to his side while his face starts to turn slightly purple. That's when Mirko pulls out a shotgun and points it to Yui's head, making everybody stand there in surprise. Mirko. Remove your lips before I remove your head. Yui reluctantly pulls back her, licking her lips while saliva is forming a small string that immediately gets cut by Vaggie's spear that then gets point right at her throat. Momo creates a bazooka and points it towards her while Charlie goes full demonic and stands right behind her, letting out a beastly growl. Yui. I wanted to know what the first was about and I can't complain. If I die now I wouldn't care. Deku. Explain, before my girlfriends decide to kill you. Yui. Simple, I like something, I take it, and I like you. All. Holy shit, you have some balls. Yui. Of course I do. I'm a Futa. Katsuki. What in the fucking Lucifer's anus? Shoto. Great, now the quirkless has girls with dicks wanting him. Ha, what's next, the goddess? Charlie. We will talk about this another time, right now I just wanna rest. Charlie turns into her demon form and picks up Deku and Vaggie. The next day Deku wakes up really pounding headache and looks around to see all of his girlfriends spread out around him almost completely unconscious. Deku. Ashbourne, what happened? Ashbourne. Well, you unlocked your wolf transformation a little earlier than I expected. And went for feral on all of them, and now I'd be surprised if they're able to move for the rest of the week. Deku. What's going to be a pain in my ass later? That's when notices the time and heads to the class, he noticing that he's the first one in there apart from Aizawa. Aizawa, so how do you go last night? Deku. Charlie and Momo won't be making it to class today. Aizawa. I'll let the faculty know that you had a rough night. Deku. So what was heard last night? Aizawa. A wild animal going out 5 girls until 4 o'clock in the morning. Deku. Are you awakened a wolf form last night and one thing led to a next and Deku heads to his seat and wait a while for the rest of his class. After around half an hour they all finally come in apart from Momo and Charlie. All the girls are looking at Deku blushing raw. Deku is sat there with his hand in a fist on his cheek. The day goes pretty normal until the heroes versus villains training exercise. All Might. We will be entering a dungeon to check your battle instincts against real monsters. I will be coming in there as a guide to protect all of you. Izumi. So what level is the gate? Inko. Well, it's a low orang. They all head into the gate with it sparking red before turning into a red gate, making Deku shake his head while looking down. All Mighty is about to say something. Deku stomps his foot, making all of wanna look at him. Deku. We don't have Momo or Charlie today, so we're gonna have to go with Strategy Delta. Jiro. Jiro. You heard the boss, Koji Shoji you're with. All Might. Excuse me, who put you in charge? This is how it's gonna go, you're gonna stay close to me while I defeat the dungeon. Katsuki, Izumi, Shoto and Shoko stand next to All Might ready to head out. Deku rolls his eyes. Deku, like I was saying, we don't have Charlie or Momo, so we're gonna have to improvise a little. Jiro, take the scout team and set up base. This seems to be like the first Red Gate we've been in, only difference is it doesn't look to be a demon-based one. Get advantage point and hit us on the shortwave radios. Inko, you're not in charge here, we are your teachers, so you have to listen to us. Deku, how many dungeons have you completed? All Might, me and Inko have completed 5 dungeons together. Deku, and how big were your squats? Inko, it was just the 2 of us and they weren't red gates, but we are way better suited to this than you locked. Deku, my point, you have no strategy except for rushing in and hoping for the best. Rules are different inside gates. That's when a deep growl is heard behind All Might. Everybody loves to see a giant warthog with 2 giant tusks made of metal and razor shaft teeth. It stands at twice as tall as All Might on all fours, making All Might start to sweat a little. Deku picks up Denki and drops him on the warthog's back. The warthog tries Denki off his back, but Deku kicks it, making it draw all of its attention to him. The warthog runs towards Deku as Denki climbs down its body and grabs both of its metal crusts and releases a powerful shock. Everybody watches as the inside of the water slowly begin to burn as it hits the ground, smoking. Everybody waiting for Denki to go in his stupid state, but Deku raises an eyebrow. Deku, hey, by any chance are your outfits insulated with rubber? Denki, yeah, actually my mom always told me my outfits needed to be insulated to stop me from frying anyone I touch. Why'd you ask? Deku, you don't go stupid. Katsuki, of course the fucker goes stupid, what else would you explain that thing he does? Deku, well, I'm currently working at a theory, but since his clothes are insulated, making all of his electrical discharge get reabsorbed into his body, it fries his neural system temporarily, making him well go his stupid state, meaning if his outfit is insulated with something that can conduct electricity instead of notify it, he should be able to not go any stupid state unless he overcharges his body. Kendo, does anyone have non-insulated set of clothing for Denki? Everybody grabs some of their spare clothes from their bags and hands them to Denki. Thank you. Removes his hero costume and puts on some casual clothing, and he feels his body slightly better. Deku, time to test my fairy. Everybody's confused but then realizes that they're surrounded by the same kind of warthogs as earlier. Deku picks up Denki and throws him in the air. Iida, isn't this reckless? Couldn't we all be fried? Denki, maximum output 1.3 million volts, maximum discharge. Yellow lightning spots everywhere before it turns blue and then start hitting all of the tusks of the warthogs, frying them alive. Deku catches Denki with one hand and Genki stands up looking slightly dazed but not in his stupid state. Shinso, holy shit, that worked. But how did you know that was the issue? Deku, well, on the first day Denki release date discharged by accident and I noticed that lightning went out, well, some of it was returned to him. And that's what happens to him. Deku and most of 1A heads out. They continue to set up a home base inside of a skyscraper with the only few creatures being in there were a handful of slimes. Deku create a few anti-material rifles with armor-piercing grounds and a few ever long-range and short-range weapons. Kendo, so what have you gained so far in information? Deku, on our walk here it seems to be a beast-type dungeon with the only exceptions being slimes, but they are really weak, and since this was a low A rank it's now a low to mid S rank gate. We'll continue like normal, the only exception is Dark Shadow. I want you to head straight for the bodies once they are killed and return them in here. If I can't find the boss before nightfall I'll return. Dark Shadow, you got it. Deku exits the apartment and flies out of there. The ground has cracks all over it with trucks thrown everywhere. Deku sees an elephant with spikes on its back ripping out of its body, continues to spy on the surroundings, keeping an eye out for anything resembling the boss. That's when Deku heads to the highest point of the city, standing on top of the radio tower on top of a skyscraper, his expression serious. That's when he notices where once would they park be. There is a giant temple for a couple hundred orcs. Deku saws down, not flapping his wings to give away his location, and lands on a rooftop directly across from the entrance. He sees his former tormentors inside of cages, with the females being on leashes surrounding a giant orc twice the size of All Might but covered in scars, with half of his face burned off, and a black mask resembling a burnt orc's skeleton is covering it. Deku sees his former tormentors a completely broken. Deku wrote his eyes before landing in the park entrance with grace. He flaps his wings twice to get all of the orcs' attentions. That's when Deku notices a couple thousand goblins holding weapons that look phoned together by 5-year-olds. Apocalypse. I am the head of the orcs. Apocalypse. Now may I know why there is a human trespassing on my territory? Deku, Yahoo, no, this is how it's going to go. You lost are going to kill yourself or I kill you my way, and trust me, my way is fun for one of us. Apocalypse, maybe you might give us a better fight than this so-called symbol of peace, strongest human. A bunch of goblins rush at Deku. Deku only jumps in the air, making all of them bump into each other. That's when the goblins look down after hearing a few beeps and then get exploded by some high-density C.4, making them explode everywhere, their bodies being flung, and the ones outside of the blast radius get stunned and flung back. Decor lands in the puddle of guts and gore, his black combat boots splashing in the blood. Deku pulls out to P90's open file while spinning, ripping all of the goblins apart. Deku. Unlike him, I'm made to kill. A bunch of combat knives start flickering into existence around Deku, aiming at the remaining goblins. Deku snaps his fingers as they get shot towards them, resembling silver bullets ripping through the heads, blowing the brains out of the back of their skulls. That's when 50 orcs, all having multiple scars across their bodies, wielding weapons almost that same size as them. That's when 4 of them go rushing at Deku. Deku stretches a little before one of the orcs with an axe swings it towards Deku, casually blocks it with his wing, the axe chattering into pieces. Deku pulls out 250 BMGs with an extended barrel and armor-piercing round. Deku stats firing the recoil, making him skid back a little, but he stabs his wings into the ground as a somewhat of a brace. The bullets continue to rip through all of them before a stray bullet flies straight towards Apocalypse. Before Apocalypse raises his hand as a shield made of pure ice stops the bullet, they both look around to notice it's just the two of them. Apocalypse start laughing while standing up, the ice melting in front of him as he slowly walks off his throne. Apocalypse. I just have one question. What's your relationship with these humans that trespassed on my domain? Deku. Well, you're looking at my womb donor, her jackass of a husband, my half-blooded annoyance, and her friends. Apocalypse. So you don't like them whatsoever? Deku. Dude, if you killed them you'd be doing me a favor, but I can't have you killing them, mainly the skinny blonde. If he died the world would be in chaos, meaning more pain in my ass. Apocalypse. Well, how about this, we fight to one of us is on death's door and whoever is on death's door can make one request from the victor. Deku. Alright, but I won't be fighting like a human. As Deku says that, his shadow wraps around his body, forming a giant black wolf the same size and height as Apocalypse. When it's on all fours, Deku lets out a growl and Apocalypse grabs an axe and a sword off his dead allies. Deku lights out a growl while Apocalypse that does the same. They both rush at each other, but as Apocalypse swings his axe towards Deku, Deku body falls forward into his shadow and hops out of Apocalypse's shadow. At blink of an eye, Deku swipes his claws against Apocalypse's back, making him grunt as he leans forward before turning around as a lightning bolt hits Deku. It burns a patch of his fur on his ear, but then Deku rushes at him and leaps above Apocalypse before sliding and biting his leg before ripping it off. Apocalypse uses ice magic to reform if somewhat of a leg. The birth continued to rush Deku, getting flung into a building before jumping straight through the floors and then running straight up the walls before jumping out of the roof. Deku then jumps off the roof in midair, spinning before his tail hits Apocalypse's shoulder as the impact blows Apocalypse's arm clean off. Then Deku uses his hind legs and slices Apocalypse's chest open. Apocalypse falls to the ground, variable to breathe while his arms are shaking. Deku body starts to be absorbed into a shadow as he stands there in human form. Apocalypse. Out of the countless battles I have fought, out of the hundreds of enemies I have slain, you are a true warrior. Deku. So what is your last request? Deku pulls out a revolver, cocks back the hammer and points it to Apocalypse's head. Apocalypse. I live by a principle. Reach for power, get stronger with every step. Every day is your last, die with no regrets. My request is simple. I want you to live by that principle every day of your life. The only people who are in control of you are yourself. And I want to take all of my loot from my countless battles. It is all yours. Do you mind giving a dying man your name? Deku. Izuku. Izuku Carmen. Deku pulls the trigger, Apocalypse's brain flying everywhere. Deku walks towards the cave where the throne was for Apocalypse. Deku shoots down all of the cages and shoots the chains off them before they could say anything. Deku walks to the throne and kicks it as hard as he can, breaking it. It falls to pieces with a huge opening behind it filled with mountains of valuables. Deku takes one step in there. I said shadow shoots out like a wave of darkness and consumes everything in there, only leaving a bright golden sword with a black blade. Deku walks up to it and it takes it. He spins it in the air before grabbing it and swinging it cutting through a rock like nothing. Deku puts it on his back, his shadow wrapping around it, holding it in place. Deku walks out to see all of his past tormentors completely broken. Deku stands at his back facing towards them, his expression never changing. Deku. You charging helping brute force could overwhelm your opponents. It doesn't work like that. Going in alone without backup could get you killed. You should know that after today. The gate will appear in the same place it was when we entered. Sort yourselves out and make it back there. You have one day before it closes. If not, you'll be stuck in here until you die one way or another. Deku walks monsters going to attack him but then getting obliterated by his weapons. He had back to the building everybody was staying at and sees them with a huge hole of monster bodies all skinned and sorted into neat piles. May, let me guess, you defeated the boss and those jackasses got themselves killed. Deku. Defeated the boss but they got themselves caught by it, and let's just say they're weak with the boss sorted their senses out a little. Kendo. Well, in total we killed 40 monsters and have sorted out their bodies for easy crafting later. Deku. Well, we need to go since if we're not out within the next 20 hours the gate will close and we'll be stuck in here. Everybody knocks before loading up the supplies on homemade carts and pulling them out of the dungeon. Everybody waits at the exit for a few minutes as they see the broken frames of All Might and Deku's past tormentors. They all exit. Deku's expression one of concern when he remembers Apocalypse's last words. That's when everybody sees Aizawa and Recovery Girl sat there on fold-out chairs. Deku. They need the most checking on. They kind of caught their backs blown out by a bunch of orcs twice the size of his buff form. Everybody stops and that looks towards the past tormentors before Jiro and Mei completely start laughing while trying to hold each other up. Deku shakes his head before seeing a blue portal appear on the other side resembling a gate but smaller. That's when Daisy steps through in casual clothes while having a neutral expression before she looks towards Jiro and Mei laughing. Daisy. What's that stick? Kendo. Oh, we don't have a stick, but Izuku Carmine's past mentors got their backs blown out by a bunch of ox twice the size of All Might, his birth form. Recovery Girl finally loses her cool and starts laughing before anyone could stop. The rest of Wanna follows within a second. After a while they finally stop, the past tormentors still looking broken as ever. Daisy, anyway, I've come to pick you up so you'll be spending your internship officially with my daughter and officially you'll be spending time with us ripping apart demons, playing video games and visiting South Park and other places you want. Dangly, a vacation since you've done what you've done. Deku. Well, I'll see you later. Jiro, mind telling my girlfriends where I'm gonna be? Jiro. Sure I will. And I will tell Mirko you're currently with her parents since it looks like she won't be joining you anytime soon. Deku gives one a quick finger salute before stepping through the portal followed by Daisy. Deku looks around the Fortress of Doom before removing his accessories for his hero costume. Daisy. So what did you do to my daughter? Deku. I may or may not have unlocked a wolf-like form and may or may not have went completely to town on all of my girlfriends in one night until around 4 maybe 5. Doom Slayer. Not bad, kid. Not bad. So what you want to do first, because by what your teachers said you have around 2 maybe 3 weeks. Deku. 2 weeks, then I'll be heading to the Island Expo. And that's going to take 2 days before it begins and then it's going to be on a night, so you are in for that. It's been a week since Deku went on vacation with the Doomslayer. Deku is still there in a black suit with Issei standing next to him in a similar black suit. Blitzo it stood behind the altar. Millie is sat at the piano waiting for her signal. Marinette gives her a thumbs up before Millie start playing Highway to Hell on the piano. Deku and Issei as they look at their brides. Yusaka walks down the red carpet in a white kimono with her hair straight down and all of 9 of her tails on display. Luna is wearing a full black dress that hugs her body neatly. They walk down the aisle, Deku and Issei fist bumping before getting right to the end. Yusaka stands in front of Issei and Luna stands in front of Deku. Blitzo. Listen, we are not a priest, so I'm just gonna get to the main parts. Does anyone here object to any one of these 2 marriages? That's when a giant pillar of fire shoots from in the center of the aisle. The Doom Slayer immediately grabs his shotgun as the pillar dies down as a tall red man with giant black horns, goat-like legs and a long red tail with an arrowhead attached to the end. Satan. I object. All of the magnets stand there in surprise at all of the women grab and jelly weapons and getting ready to attack. That's when all of them stop. Well, Marinette, Deku and Issei start laughing like crazy. Issei. How you been, Satan? Satan. Well, apart from you fighting me to your wedding, pretty good. Deku. What are you talking about? Daisy. Okay, before me and John rip this person apart, who is he and what's going on? Satan. Allow me to introduce myself. I'm Satan, one of the precepts of hell itself, and I was joking with the whole I object. I'm just annoyed that they didn't invite me. Deku. What do you mean I sent the fucking invitation straight to Crowley? Satan. What name did you use? Kenny or Izuku? Deku. Fuck, I might have used Izuku. Marinette. So it looks like no one objects, so we can continue. Everybody looks at each other before nodding. That's when a scream resembling a banshee heard. All of Hell's non-residents cover their ears. Issei books around confused as the Occult Research Club appears at the end of the aisle, glaring at all of them. Lucifer looks at the redhead who seems to be in charge before rolling his eyes. Deku. Didn't I kill this bitch? Issei. They probably used Phoenix Tears. Blitzo. Can somebody shut the banshees up? Deku looked at the Occult Research Club, expression filled with annoyance. Issei looks at the Occult Research Club before a huge sense of magic as a giant black dildo drops on the Occult Research Club. Time stops brief few seconds before all of them get crushed by it, turning into a red pile of mush and guts. Issei, Deku, Marinette. Dumb ways to die. They all look at Satan, who just raises a fun before Blitzo speaks up, his voice failed with excitement. Blitzo. By the power vested in me. By the ass crack of Satan. And the music of Doomslayer. You are now married. Kiss, make out, do whatever. Luna grabs the color of Deku's shirt and rags him in for a passionate kiss. Deku's eyes widen slightly. That's when God appears, and that looks at the situation. Everybody stops and looks at God. God. Before you ask, I know this isn't my granddaughter's wedding, but I technically see Izuku as my grandson already, so just for the sake of a good wedding he owes me a few favors, so. God snaps his fingers as Michael Jackson appears. His white suit with his angelic white wings stands there, and he throws a coin right at a straight into a jukebox. As the coin flies through the air, Deku and Issei stand next to Michael Jackson. As soon as the coin goes in, Deku and Issei repeat Michael Jackson's every move to Smooth Criminal. At the end, Deku and Issei to the 45 degrees lean in sync with Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson stand up properly, sorts out his suit and hat before giving Deku a nod and heads out. Everybody is stood there surprised, and Deku picks up Luna. A few days after them wedding, Deku is sat in class, the rest of class 1A going back to normal after the events of the internship. Aizawa walks in with a bunch of papers. He looks at his class that are quiet and gives them all a nod. He puts the papers on his desk before looking at the class. Aizawa. Good, you all learning. Now we'll be taking the end of term exam. The entire class groans. Katsuki. Seriously, we have to do work. What happened to the good old just beating villains up? Deku. Yeah, well, paperwork is just part of a hero. Aizawa. The sheets of paper are a list of things you will need to study for the exam next week, and for the physical portion of the exam it will be a dungeon raid, but you will be split into teams of 4, 2 from 1A and 2 from 1B, so for now 1B will be sharing dorms with 1A. If you have any questions, take it up with the rat. The time to the test will be a free time, so study, do whatever, and you better go over plans with 1B and decide on who's going to be in your group. Everybody's reluctantly agrees. Aizawa grabs his sleeping bag and gets ready to walk out the class, but he turns back to Deku. Aizawa. Oh, and problem child, congratulations on getting married. We cut to the dorms where 1B is waiting for 1A there, who looks to see most of the of a class waiting for him around the table. Deku looks at them all confused before realizing. Deku. I'm guessing you want me to make the plans. Pony. Yes, since we see your tactician skills back in that red gate. And most of us could use tutoring with situations involving gates. Deku sits on the couch while most of 1A and 1B sit around the living area. Charlie, right now we should only concentrate on strategy, and then we switch to studying. Deku. Right, let's start with your categories. Monoma. What do you mean by categories? Deku. We'll begin with the most known tanks, people who absorb all the damage from the enemies while the rest of the party can have a regrouper prepared for a bigger talk. Support, our quirks made for taking up the rear in long-range attacks. Scouts are used for long-range and buffs. And the others are just mainly healing and, well, the base people who just go in and attack. Deku spends the next few hours sorting out everybody into groups of 4. Deku team is Deku, Pony, Jiro, Abara. Everybody hears footsteps as Luna walks in and kisses Deku on the cheek. Deku. How was your day? Luna. The usual. I.M.P. work, babe. Luna sits on Deku's lap. Deku get up holding Luna bridal style. Veggie walked in and see the sleepy Luna in Deku's arms. Veggie. Momo, me and Charlie gonna be crashing in your room tonight. We cut 2 weeks later. Everybody has just finished the racing portion of the exam currently in their groups outside of gates across the city. Deku stands in front of a blue gate with both hands in his pockets. Deku and his party walk through the gate. They could looks around to see it's a cave-type dungeon and pulls back the slide on a standard 12-gauge pump-action shotgun with bug shot. Deku. Jiro, what are we looking at? Jiro. We're looking at insect types. But I can't track him too much. Echo. Deku. Alright, let's go. They all follow Deku, get to a wide open area with a bunch of holes in the walls and ceiling. Deku's expression turns serious. Decorate his hand into a fist, stopping them. They look around confused for a few seconds before Deku raises 2 fingers in a finger gun-like motion. Deku points the 12 gauge at one of the holes. He then points the gun. You continues to point it at every hole as a skittering is heard. Deku points the shotgun straight up and starts firing. A few seconds later, a bunch of small dog-size ants start falling from the ceiling holes. Deku looks at the ants before turning his head back to his party. Deku. Use your vines to cover up all the holes except for the ones in front of us. Use the answer's nutrients. Abara not before her vines spread out while digging through the bodies of the ants, plugging up all the holes except for 8 in front of them. Deku spawns a mounted machine gun and reload it. Pony hops on the machine gun and slides the hammer back. Jiro how to hand out as a golden scythe appears in her hand. An army of red and blue ants come crawling out of the tunnels that plugged up. Deku goes ballistic with the shotgun while Jiro swings her scythe with precision and grace, the blade ripping through the ants like paper. After 30 minutes of continuous fighting, they all start and look around. The vines retract as a bunch of dead ants for out of every other hole but looking dried up like their blood has been ripped out of them. Deku. Let's continue, and then if you need a break let me know. Deku looks towards them for a few seconds before heading down the only tunnel with some light coming out of it. When they get through, a giant spider the size of a 18-wheeler is sleeping. They look around to see the walls covered in mana crystals, mountains of them. Deku raises his fist, stopping them from making a move. Deku, I'll keep an eye on the boss while you lot get the mana crystals. If it wakes up, I'll keep it distracted. Gather what you can because we have 3 hours once the boss is defeated. Jiro, you heard the boss. Deku watches as his other party members begin to mine the crystals. The bus stares and Deku's eyes narrow as the boss opens its eyes as all the cocoons around the giant nest it made in the center begins to crack. Deku, Abara, wrap all of you in your vines. Abara's vines wrap around Pony and Jiro and brings them in. A giant cocoon of green vines appear around them. As Deku pops his shoulder, he looks back towards the boss as 40 spiders at the size of a small car start climbing out of the other cocoons. Deku chucks his shotgun to one side. His shadow wraps around his arms, forming his claws. His ears slightly grow as his tail becomes more rigid and spiky. Deku leans forward on all fours while growling with a giant smirk on his face. One of the spiders rush at him and immediately gets sliced apart. The boss screams out in anger and rushes at Deku. Deku rushes, bouncing off all the walls and ripping apart all of them. Shadows form around his mouth, making his teeth sharper. He rashes at the boss and bite down into it. He pulls his mouth back, ripping a huge chunk out of the boss. The boss screams out in agony as Deku just smiles like a mania. The boss tries to shake Deku off. It ridiculous continues to stab and rip them apart. After 20 minutes everything goes silent. Deku's party comes out of the cocoon and looks Deku. Deku, right, that's the boss defeated. Jiro, it sounded tamer than that's a night in the dorms. Deku, yeah, well, turns out my new features also came with a heat cycle and it kind of flied up as soon as I unlocked my wolf form. Deku's body stiffens as he sniffs around. He looks behind the nest of the boss to see a giant set of old doors. Deku walks towards it and puts his hand against it. As soon as he does, his shadows rip the door apart and he looks at it confused and concerned. Deku walks straight free with the doorway and continues to walk down the car door. Why do you do it? What are you doing today? And catches up today. When Deku get to the end of the hallway, he sees the familiar bridges in that dream-like place. Deku turns into his wolf form and put his party on his back. He rushes right down there and quickly stops in front of the statues. Ashbourne, I didn't expect to see you here, but your visit isn't expected. Deku, yeah, well, it's good thing I took that dungeon, not somebody else. We could have a bigger issue on our hand. Ashbourne, usually I would say you're correct, but there are bigger matters that they hand. You're growing as a fascinated expected, meaning is about time you unlock another skill. This one you won't be able to control right away, but you can find out what it does in your own time. Let's when that Deku's shadow gets dragged away and then comes back, but he doesn't feel anything different. That's when Deku can sense that the gate is starting to close. He looks at Ashbourne's statue before giving her a nod. Deku runs out of the gate, all the better supplies being on his back. When he stops, he turns his head to see all of his party members sleeping on their way back to your way. Deku looks up at the roof, his expression serious. Luna, okay, what's going on with you? You're usually not this bummed out. Deku, something's coming and I know that much. But what it is and how strong it is, no clue. Luna, I'm guessing God and Doomslayer won't be able to handle Eva. Deku, I'm not sure, but I know if Ashbourne is risking showing other people that place something big on the horizon. I'm looking and even more than just what we have. Luna, what you mean? Deku, my Marinette and Issei can hold our own just as much as the Doomslayer can. But if she was that worried something big coming, Issei can probably get me a set of evil pieces. I'm going to. Luna, you was in this shaking even when hell was on earth. Deku sets up properly, his wings being covered in his shadow, making them look void black when no light could escape. Deku, cause at least I knew what was coming with that. Deku pulls out his phone and messages on the Hell's group chat, telling them all to meet him in the UA faculty room immediately. We cut to an hour later. All of Heaven and Hell's residents are sat in the UA faculty room with a handful of UA faculty. Daisy, you wanted to send this a message on that group chat out the blue. What's up? Deku, you'll know about my new wolf features. Well, it turns out on the lost descendant of the Shadowborn. I'm not sure what that means for me or anything of the sort. Doomslayer, I see you have met Ashbourne. It's been a while since I've spoken to her. Deku, yeah, well, I met her earlier today during my dungeon, right? She seemed panicked. She wouldn't have hijacked one of the gates without a reason. Nezu, okay, so we're all on the same page. Can someone explain what that was going on? I might be the smartest person alive, but even I don't know what's going on. Deku explains everything he knows about the Shadowborn. Then Deku's expression turned serious. Deku, the during today's date very high to feed the boss, and then behind the boss was a door straight to the two more whatever it is, and that's where she did something to me, but they explained what it was. Issei, I still have some connections. I'll see if I can get my hand on a set of evil pieces for you, but they might not work since you're an angel. Marinette, I have the miraculous on standby. Shade is raving to go. Deku, Good, I'm going to need her ready to go out of moment's notice. Charlie, we have God and the Doomslayer on our side. What could be so threatening? Doomslayer. If Ashbourne is afraid something's coming not even me and God could defeat. The entire room goes quiet. Deku leans forward. Deku. Doomsday, I need you to go through all your archives and find anything that could get us even slightly worried. Issei, I need you to get your hands on a set of evil pieces for me ASAP. Marinette, I'm gonna be coming to Paris with you so we can stop Hawkmoth and get our hands on all of the miraculous. We're going to need them. Satan, ancient contact with our allies in South Park and see who's up for an all-out war. Mom, I would like you to see how much you can improve Ebony and Ivory as best as you can. Everybody in the room looks at Deku with surprise before nodding. Before anything, House All Might come barging in, his expression angry and serious. All Might, you're not doing anything of the sort, you are. That's when a hand is felt on All Might's shoulder. All Might turns and sees a tall man rowing a black biker jacket, long white hair and two jet black wings and crimson red eyes. Covering his cheeks are the same diamond-shaped freckles that are on Deku's cheeks. All Might. Hasashi. Hasashi. It's Midoriya to you. Hasashi casually walks in like he owns the place, grabs a chair and sits down next to Deku. Hasashi. Looks like you're taking charge, kiddo. Deku. Aren't you supposed to be in heaven? Hasashi. No, I ain't staying up there while you have all the fun. I see you've been taking care of my babies. Hasashi gestures to Ebony and Ivory. Hasashi. Oh, and don't worry, I'm not going to be taking off you anytime soon. They belong to you now. And it looks like you made the same friends I did. Hasashi looks towards Marinette and Issei. Issei. What? Hasashi. I used to hang out with both of your mothers, and not in that way. They're like sisters to me. Deku continues to plan everything for the next few hours. The sun begins to set and Deku is sitting on the roof of UA. Deku, his footsteps behind him coming closer than Hasashi sets next to him, his wings wrapping around Deku in a comforting way. Deku. You haven't told me the entire story. Why are you really here? Hasashi. Like father, like son. It's simple, I've been watching you from heaven every step of the way from the day I died to present. The amount of times I just wanted to break out of heaven and kill her is unreal. 8 times I have to be restrained by the guards of heaven. Deku. Get real with me, what is it really? Hasashi. You know me, you're not doing this alone. Yes, you have friends that you can trust, but I'm helping you. Can try and push me away, tell me to go and rest back up in heaven or do anything at the sort. I have connections, you know that you're a Midoriya. It doesn't matter who you are, you're my son and I'm fighting with you. Besides, not gonna let you have all the fun, especially can get my adrenaline pumping again. Being angel's kinda boring when you can't feel your adrenaline pumping through your veins. Deku. Had a feeling you say something stupid like that, so we nipping to Night City. A few hours later, Deku and Hasashi I stood outside of an apartment building inside of Night City. Deku rolls his eyes before banging on the door as a woman the same size as Hasashi opens up her short black hair and her tired eyes. When she sees me, she's about to speak her, but then she sees the all too familiar figure of Hasashi. Hasashi. What's good, chum? Deku. Hey Auntie V. V, if I haven't been living at Night City as long as I have, I would be freaking out. So you coming in or? Deku and Hasashi go into V's apartment. Deku explains the situation to V. V, so something bag's come in and you are every fucking thing we've got. Deku. Sums it up, but we don't know when it's coming or how big it is so far. The obviously I know is we're gonna need everything we've got, including a few hundred gods. Hasashi. But we don't need that many gods, we got one Doomslayer, one deity and some overpowered teenagers with too much stress on their hands. V. Yeah, I'll shut up and I'll bring whatever firepower and bullshit I've got. Deku. Thanks. The next day Deku is chilling inside of his room with all of the guns making up his wings taken apart and being cleaned by him. Momo walks in and looks at Deku. Momo. What was that meeting about? Deku. Right now it's none of our problem, okay? And until it is, just ignore it. We cut to a day later. Deku is sat in the bus heading to the off-campus training area. Deku watches the piles of forest as they stop. Everybody gets off the bus thinking they're stretching the legs, but Deku looks at Aizawa. That's when a car pulls up next to them. 2 women walk out and a small kid. Before any word could be exchanged, the tallest woman puts her hand on the ground, making the ground shake before a tie away from mud pushes one off the ledge.
Right, that was chapter 1 to chapter 8 of Hazbin, Ripping Carnage. Now, for those who want me to continue certain ones, just ask, and for those who want my continuation of AJ the Bold. I can't do that at the minute since I'm currently working on more ones for my What If, the Omnitrix Forge ones. Since there are currently, I think, one part out, and I'm currently making the second part.